Nguyen,
Here.
Councilmember Tran,
Here.
Councilmember Aristegui. Here. Mayor Pro Tem Dovin is absent. And Councilmember Muñetón is also absent. And Mayor Klopfenstein.
We will now have our Assistant City Manager, Matt West, lead us in the invocation, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Councilwoman Cindy Tran.
All right, please prepare yourself according to your faith. Dear Lord, as we gather for this evening's meeting, let us unite in purpose. May we approach our work with grace and patience, treating each other with respect and valuing the diverse voices that strengthen our community. And let our words be thoughtful, our dialogue respectful, and our decisions grounded in wisdom, fairness, and a commitment to the common good. We ask this in your name. Amen.
With that, I'll turn the meeting over to Councilmember Bridingham for the Housing Authority meeting.
Okay. Can we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Aristegui,
Here.
Commissioner Beckles,
Here.
Commissioner Klopfenstein,
Here.
Commissioner Philip Nguyen,
Here.
Commissioner Tan Nguyen,
Here.
Commissioner Tran,
Here.
and Chair Bridingham.
Here.
And Commissioners Muñetón and Vice Chair Dovin are absent.
Oh, we got
We have,
Commissioner
but
Dovin.
he's arriving now. Thank you.
Got to make it official and say here.
Yeah.
All right. We will convene the Garden Grove Housing Authority. Move on to agenda item 1, adoption of a resolution approving the Garden Grove Housing Authority's biannual budget for 25-26 and 26-27.
Chair
Yes, sir.
Bridingham, just before we do that, can we see if we have anyone for oral communications, please, for the Housing
Okay, we
Authority?
can do that. We'll open oral communications. Is anybody, member of the public, would like to comment on the Housing Authority item? Okay, seeing none, we will close it. And is there a presentation?
Yes, this evening we do have a presentation for the adoption of the resolutions, and Finance Director Patricia Song is here to provide that report.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Good evening, Mr. Chair, Vice Chair, and Commissioners. Can we have the slides pulling up on the screen, please? Thank you. All right. So I'm pleased to be here tonight to present the proposed budget for the Garden Grove Housing Authority for fiscal years 26 and 27. The Housing Authority was established back in 1977 in response to the city's growing need for affordable housing. Since then, our mission has remained the same: to ensure that safe, decent, and sanitary housing is available for low-income individuals and families in Garden Grove. Under California Housing Authority's law, the authority is responsible for developing, managing, and overseeing a variety of affordable housing programs. These programs are designed to improve housing stability and enhance the quality of life for some of our community's most vulnerable residents. As reflected in the authority's most recent 5-year and annual plan, there are 6 key goals. First, we aim to maximize the assistance we provide and improve quality of our assisted housing. Second, we're working to expand the supply of affordable housing in the city. Third, we want to make it easier for participants to access affordable housing, and we're doing that by collaborating with other agencies. Fourth, we want to be prepared to reopen the Section 8 voucher waiting list when additional federal funding is made available to us. Fifth, we're committed to promoting family self-sufficiency through supportive programs and resources. And finally, we're focused on maintaining our high performer status, which reflects the effectiveness and quality of our services. To support long-term planning and help our operations run smoothly, the Housing Authority follows a 2-year budget cycle. This timeline is aligned with the city's overall budgeting process, which helps us maintain consistency and make strategic use of our resources. The authority is funded through federal grants from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, better known as HUD. Our largest program is the Housing Choice Voucher Program, commonly referred to as Section 8. This program allows us to partner with private landlords to help income-eligible families access safe and affordable housing throughout the city. Right now, the program supports more than 2,200 families with their monthly rent. Our annual allocation from HUD is about $51 million, as shown on the slide here. Of that amount, roughly $42 million goes directly to the Section 8 program. Around $4.8 million is used for what's called the Housing Assistance Payment Portability Program, which allows voucher holders to move to other cities if needed. And there's about $4.5 million is set aside each year for the Housing Authority's administrative costs. And this cost includes all of the personnel expenses for our team of 20 full-time Housing Authority staff. There have been discussions at the federal level about possible funding reductions. The good news is that it's been confirmed that there will be no cuts for fiscal year 25-26. For the second year of this proposed 2-year budget, we're continuing with the same funding estimates. If funding level changes for 2027, we will revisit in this proposed budget during our mid-cycle review. So thank you, Chair, Vice Chair, and Commissioners for your time, trust, and continued support as we work to address the housing needs of our community. At this time, I welcome any questions you may have. Thank you.
Questions of staff?
Yes, Patricia, I do have I have a few questions. First and foremost, want to say that I'm glad that at this point, given all of the uncertainty with federal funding, that we're even in a position where we can prepare this budget and look forward to it, right? So to my understanding, is the $4 million, that's just administrative costs that
That
go
is
towards running the housing authority?
That is correct.
Okay, and to your knowledge, there's no hint that there could be any increases in our allocations?
Our authority has been very strict in adhering to the federal guidelines. So there's 10% limitation on the percentage that could go to the administrative costs. And there's also, they call it de minimis rule, that is 10% of the indirect costs over direct overhead. So the agency's been very careful reviewing all of their administrative costs. And anytime they're making changes to staffing, to benefits, to salaries, that all has to be reviewed, including contractual services who helps us for certain contract obligations.
And at this point, I understand that we provide vouchers to over 2,200 families. I believe that we have the authority to give vouchers to a little over 2,300 families. Do you have the exact figure of if the housing market were more reasonable, what we actually reasonably would have been able to give to our residents?
Our allotment's larger, it's bigger than 2,200 for sure.
Uh-huh.
It's probably roughly around 2,300-ish, a little bit. But there are two things we have to look at. One is the funding from the federal government, because this is really a pass-through program that the city administers or the housing authority administers. And the other side is the rental market. If the rental market, the rental rate is exceeding its historical level, then the limited funding would only cover so many vouchers that we could provide to our residents. And that is why you see some increases in the portability program, because the housing here is more expensive than somewhere else. Then the voucher holders would have to be forced to move elsewhere with that portability program.
Okay, and can you help me understand the timeline of the cash flow for this specific program? Because with all of the and I know I've been asking you about this a lot, Patricia, but with all of the looming uncertainty, even with regards to the funding for this specific program, when does our city receive these funds to be reimbursed? How does that process actually look like?
Well, the federal government follows a different fiscal year. So, their fiscal year starts October 1st, right? So at that time, the budget would be laid out, and that covers that fiscal year, and the city's allocation will be determined before that happens. And then we get the allocation. This is not on a reimbursement basis, because the city has no point, or the authority has no point to upfront the cash. It's significant amount of money, $51 million. So we get the allocation up front, and then we use that money throughout the year to pay for the vouchers, to pay for the assistance to the individual or the families.
So right now, for our proposed 2027 year, we're running on a good faith estimate.
We're carrying pretty much 2026 numbers into
Oh,
2027. Yeah, we'll
Yay.
revisit that in mid-cycle review in June next year.
We love our chances, don't we? Well, thank you so much, Patricia, and
welcome.
I appreciate you breaking this down for me. I think it's important also for our residents who are members of this voucher program to also understand what's at stake for them, and how this works, so that people, feel a little bit more at ease. Especially when you hear a lot of things in the news, I want to make sure that folks feel, confident that they're going to be able to receive the support in the future. So thank you.
Most definitely. You're welcome.
Do you have any other questions of staff?
No question, but can I make a comment? Okay, so thanks to Patricia and team for the information. I know that early when I first started as a council member, many of the residents were asking, they have been requesting more than 10 plus years. And so, that's a long time. But learning from the staff, with the information, for all the people that receiving right now, the money that we get, we have to give to the people that receiving, so that continuing. And so we see that there are big amount of money, but that we cannot add, more people unless something happen. So understand that. There were a couple of the events that our city provide for first-time home buyer or housing program. There was resident that waiting and asking our staff and council member, like, is there any way that they could help? And I just want to say thank to our staff. There was resident that live here and then move to different city and then move to another city, to Westminster, and then work somewhere else and then checking. But our staff actually, in every single case, they took the information, the phone number, they traced down, and then there were cases that they have to update their phone number or their information. So I know that take a lot of effort, and those are just the one that I saw, and I know that you probably have more residents came to you. So I just want to say thank you so much for doing your diligent job and helping the residents to get the answer that they need. So that's the only thing that I want to say, so thank you.
Yes. Also, I would like to thank you, Patricia, for doing a good presentation. Got a question. What happened is there, I understand some of the question that I have is the people that actually got our voucher and then moved to another city. How do we handle that? Or how do we use that voucher?
So the vouchers are portable, meaning that when a eligible individual is able to receive the voucher, they do not, that's federally funded, they do not have to stay in Garden Grove. They can take it elsewhere to another property that accepts the voucher. So that is part of the federal program.
That's
Yes.
very good. Thank you, Ursula.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry, Ursula. I have a follow-up question. But in light of, George, in light of Councilmember Nguyen's question and the portability of the vouchers, I know we always ask about people moving up and around the list. We know a lot of folks want to be able to get on that list. But does that portability affect the length of our list?
Not really. So we have an allocation, and then we, based on the rents for the participants, that dictates the number of vouchers, kind of to your first question, that we actually have, which is why it's less than the amount of allocated vouchers that we could do. When that voucher counts, so that federal funding is, we get our Garden Grove allocation, it comes to us, we distribute it through the vouchers, we pay the landlords directly, and we will pay, we have agreements with a couple of the other jurisdictions on portability issues, but otherwise, we will track that individual to the city where they have taken their voucher and continue to pay. So it does not open up a voucher for somebody else.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioners? I too want to echo my colleagues' thanks for a balanced and great budget. I am very excited with this board in particular. We made it a priority some years back, and as of 2 years ago, we have no homeless veterans on that list. I think we're the first city to be able to claim that. So pretty proud of that accomplishment. I do have a question regarding the opening up of the new list and when that may, is there any projected estimates as to when that may transpire?
Gosh, I feel like it might be in the monthly report. I know it's a question I frequently ask Tiana, our housing authority manager. My recollection is so we base it on a projection of turnover. So there is sometimes turnover, either people no longer need the voucher. There's different life circumstances. And so we do get to issue a few new vouchers, every month typically. We've been in what's been called shortfall recently because we were low. The rents had gone up so much, so we had not been issuing any new vouchers for over a year. We just learned that we're out of shortfall, so we will start doing that again, which means on average, it's generally like 3-ish vouchers per month that sort of turn over and become available. So we're slowly able to chip away at that list. And based on those projections, my recollection is it's like 3-ish years when we anticipate opening up the list.
Thank you. Okay, so this is a public hearing, so we will open the public hearing. And is there anybody in the audience who would like to speak on this issue? Seeing none, we will close the public hearing and invite it back for member discussion or entertain a motion. Okay, we have a motion and we have a second. Call for the vote. Actually, I don't think that'll work.
We're going to do a roll call
Yeah, you
vote.
have to do a roll call vote. Yeah.
Okay, Commissioner Reidigam.
Yes.
Commissioner Beckles.
Yes.
Commissioner Philip Wynn.
Yes.
Commissioner Tran.
Yes.
Commissioner Klopfenstein.
Yes.
Commissioner Dovin.
Aye.
And Commissioner Muñetón.
Yes.
Commissioner Aristegui.
Yes.
And Commissioner Tanwin.
Yes.
Motion received, 9 yes votes.
All right. Are there any matters from commissioners?
None.
Seeing none, we will adjourn until the next meeting and move back to the council. Thank you, Jay.
Great day.
All right, with that, we will move on to presentations. And we have 2 this evening. The first one is very exciting, something that hasn't happened here at a council meeting before. We have a presentation by the Orange County Humane Society showcasing their pet adoption program. That is so cute.
Uh, 10. He's about 10. 10 years. 10 years. 10 years.
She looks like my dog.
He's a little bit old, but he's still good. Okay. Good afternoon, Honorable Mayor, City Council members, and city staff. My name is Heidi Poe, and I am the supervisor for our Animal Care Services Department. Next to me is Holly Spritzer, who has been a volunteer for 6 years, and Trennan Carter, who has also volunteered for 6 years at the Orange County Humane Society. Today we come together for the first time where we are getting to showcase one of the many cute furry friends that are currently up for adoption at the Orange County Humane Society, our city's contracted animal shelter. By promoting and bringing adoptable pets into the spotlight, we hope to raise more awareness to the numerous wonderful, loving dogs and cats and other animals that come from within our city that are up for adoption, just waiting to find their forever homes. There are many special, friendly animals that often get overlooked at the shelter, and we hope to make our community members and citizens aware that there are good, loving animals of all types, sizes, and ages that are just waiting their right human companion to say yes. For anyone who doesn't know, Garden Grove Animal Care Services is contracted with the Orange County Humane Society, which is located at 21632 Newland Street in Huntington Beach. They provide the housing, care, and adoption of all animals impounded by Garden Grove Animal Care Services. For animals not reclaimed by their owners and held past the legal holding period, they become ready for adoption, like little Lenny. This is where people like Holly and TC step in. Numerous volunteers come on a weekly or even daily basis to help clean, feed, care, socialize, walk, and train animals like Lenny to make them ready for their new homes and be more comfortable. They take them on daily walks and help them stay and keep their socialization skills. Our first ever pet at the podium is named Lenny, who is a short-haired Chihuahua mix, and he is about 10 years old. He was impounded on March 8th, so he's been at the shelter now for just over 2 months. Lenny, whose name was unknown at the time we took him in, was found by a Good Samaritan at Mirris Elementary School and brought to the Public Works yard for our animal control officers to intake. No one ever came looking for Lenny, so now he has been available for adoption for 2 months. I'm gonna let Holly and TC talk a little bit about Lenny, what the adoption process is if you're interested in Lenny or any other animals from our shelter, and also a little bit about becoming a foster for their rescue, Angel for Paws, which helps to rescue animals from our local shelter.
Hello, my name is Holly Spritzer. I'm very happy to be here. Thank you for letting us bring Lenny. Lenny, like Heidi said, is about 10 years old. He was found in the elementary school, never claimed. He's a really great little companion. He's easy to walk. He doesn't really like being held, but he's tolerating me right now. But he seems to be fine. And he's just a great little dog. I think he's already potty trained. He's well behaved in the car. He's a really good dog. So as far as our adoption process goes, you must have a valid ID, and you must, I don't have my glasses, but I can tell you, you have to have a valid ID, proof of residency, whether that's a property statement, tax bill, or a lease agreement from your rental property. We need to see that, and we also charge a fee for our adoptions. They vary in price according to age and breed. Lenny, being a senior, is $155, which is not very much for a little guy to give you a lot of love. That would include his neuter, microchip, his first vet visit, all of his vaccinations, everything is included. He just needs a home. But it's pretty easy to foster through our organization. TC will talk a little bit about that, but we are really trying to help the pets at Orange County Humane Society first, since we know them firsthand and volunteer there. So I'm going to let TC give you a little bit of information, and I will let him take over. Thank you.
Good evening, I'm Trenton Carter, TC. I'm going to talk briefly about some of the things that the Orange County Humane Society does and the volunteers do for the dogs. Our mission is to support the shelter and help these dogs become more adoptable. This is done by taking photos of the dogs and posting them, exercise for the dogs, human interaction and love, and sometimes some training. We also have a mobile groomer come and help groom the dogs. We provide vitamins. We promote what donations are needed by the Orange County Humane Society, and we would hope someday that we could do an event with the city. We're also thinking about trying to do a educational program for the residents of Garden Grove in what we do and how we can keep the dogs out of the shelter. About 2.5 to 3 years into our volunteering at the shelter, we decided we wanted to do more. So we started an animal rescue named Angels for Paws Animal Rescue. We are a 501c3. We hold adoption events where we take dogs from the shelter and take them to pet stores such as PetSmart, Pet Supply, and Cahoots. The dogs there are exposed to people coming and going, shopping in shopping centers, and sometimes aren't necessarily expecting to meet a dog or see a dog, and it gets them thinking. Oftentimes, a week or two will go by, and they'll go into the shelter and actually see the dog or find the dog of their dreams. I also want to make a point that we also have cats. So those of you that are we also have cats as well. Our foster program is relatively new. We are a non-brick and mortar, so all of the dogs that we end up pulling from the shelter that are maybe behavioral issues or dogs that just can't handle the stress of the shelter. We have people, out of the goodness of their heart, foster those animals, and Angels for Paws covers all the entire costs, from vet bills to food, to dog beds, crates, etc. We would also like in the future to be able to come to more city council events and give you more information and maybe even bring some pictures of some of the success stories. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. This is really amazing. I'm so excited that we had the opportunity to showcase this sweet little dog tonight. The city manager, myself, our assistant city manager, Matt West, and others traveled down to OC Humane recently. And when you see the amount of dogs there, especially if you're an animal lover and a dog owner like myself, it tears at your heart. It's hard to see all of them, and if I could take them all home, I would. I think my husband would kill me, but I really wanted to be able to highlight and showcase these animals here at City Council. You never know who's watching. You never know who's in the audience who might want to take this pet home. I'm excited at the idea of being able to highlight and showcase both cats and dogs, and also to thank you for all that you're doing as volunteers. Heidi, thank you for all you're doing with OC Animal Care, or Garden Grove Animal Care. Thank you to Bill Murray and the entire team at Public Works that tackle all of this work on a daily basis. We appreciate all that you do. We know that it is tireless and it's emotional to see these animals day in and day out. So hopefully there's somebody out there today that might want a new best friend. So we really appreciate you coming in today.
I did want to mention one thing that I forgot. I'm sorry. If anyone's interested in interacting with Lenny Moore, please come to the shelter between 1 and 4, Tuesday through Sunday, and you'll be able to take him for a walk and interact with him all you want. We have a lot of great dogs. Please feel free to come walk through.
That's great. And I know we have more information about OC Humane too on our city website, and maybe we can even kind of cross promote and feature some of these animals there on our website as well. So thank you so much.
That'd be great.
Thank you.
Can you provide the address again, please?
Yes.
21632 Newland Street.
21632 Newland.
In Huntington Beach. This is
Huntington
Lenny.
Beach, okay.
He's coming
Could I
home.
ask a quick question?
Yeah.
Can I just ask a quick question? So how long does it normally take for somebody to apply and be able to take the animal home?
It's a pretty fast process as long as the people can provide proof of residency, they have a valid ID, and their application is approved, that their home is safe, and if the pet needs any further veterinary care, that's when that's discussed at that time too. But
Okay.
it's a pretty quick process. If you have all your paperwork, it's fast.
And are they all potty trained and good behave, or?
I can't say they're all potty trained.
Okay.
A lot of them
Okay.
are. A lot of them are. Lenny is. I know he is. He's coming home with me tonight. I know he's potty trained.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any
Yes.
other
One more. I
questions?
think we have one more question.
Just a couple questions. I'm a numbers guy, so I'm interested in how many pets or adoptees you have right now. What's their capacity?
At the shelter?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I can speak to the manager, Rose, and find out what the capacity is.
I know we have about 85 dogs that are for adoption right now. I do know that. Around
How many
85.
volunteers you have working?
About 35.
Okay.
And I've been the volunteer coordinator for a while.
And is there a web page where you publish some of the?
We do have our social media, yes.
And what is
Instagram and Facebook. I'll be happy to give you a business poster card.
Yeah. If you could just read it out, because
Oh,
a lot of
sure.
in the audience and people who are watching at home might want to be able to get online and check out
Sure.
the
And
website.
all of the adoptable dogs and cats are on the Orange County Humane Society's
Yes.
website.
Okay.
All right. Our website is www.angels, ANGELS, the number 4, paws, PAWS.us. And our social media is at A4P Animal Rescue.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Let's
you,
adopt
everybody.
Lenny. All right, we have another community spotlight this evening in recognition of the Pacifica High School Dance Team's National Championship title, and our Assistant City Manager, Wes, will read the community spotlight.
Yes, thank you. Tonight, the Garden Grove City Council is proud to recognize the Pacifica High School dance team for their outstanding achievements during the 2024-25 season, which marked the most successful year in the team's history. At this time, I'd like to invite the Pacifica High School dance team and coaches Bree Velton and Jessica Goltra up to the front here, please. Come on up. Since 2009, the Pacifica dance team has competed at both local and national levels, earning a total of 15 national titles. This year, the team made school history by earning 3 national championship titles at the 2025 USA Dance Nationals competition, more than any previous team in a single season. They earned first place in the following divisions: intermediate small dance, intermediate small lyrical, and intermediate medium dance pom. They also placed 6th in the highly competitive intermediate medium hip hop division, showcasing the team's versatility. These achievements reflect the dancers' incredible dedication and the strength of the team as they train several days a week and perform at school events throughout the year, including football and basketball games, assemblies, and musicals. The dancers also take the lead in the annual dance show, mentoring younger students and choreographing original routines. Coach Bree Velton, now in her 19th year with Pacifica High School, continues to go above and beyond for her students, volunteering countless hours to help the team grow both as performers and as individuals. Working closely with assistant coach Jessica Goltra, they have built a culture of excellence, leadership, and teamwork. The coaches shared that this season became a meaningful learning experience where dancers grew as performers, collaborators, and problem solvers. They expressed their pride in the team's growth on and off the dance floor. At this time, the mayor and city council would like to present the Pacifica High School dance team and coaches with certificates in recognition of their historic season and national titles. Congratulations to the entire team. We wish you continued success in all your future endeavors. I'd also like to welcome up GGUSD Board Trustee Terry Rocco to the podium to share a few words.
I know. Good evening. I'm honored to join the city for this exciting recognition of Pacifica High School award-winning dance team. As a Board of Education member and a proud alumnus of Pacifica High School, I have immense pride in our Mariner students, including this truly special dance team. Over the years, they've built a legacy of success, earning 15 national titles. That level of achievement doesn't happen by chance. It takes extraordinary commitment, leadership, and teamwork. The fact that the 2024-2025 season was the program's most successful yet is extraordinary. Congratulations to these hardworking athletes for the impressive accomplishment of earning first place in 3 national divisions. There's nothing small about this accomplishment. The effort behind these titles reflects countless hours of practice, strong mentorship, and a community that uplifts the arts. Not only are these awards worthy of celebration, but I want to applaud this team on fostering school spirit, a sense of community through your performances at football and basketball games and school assemblies. Congratulations to the dancers, their coaches, Bree Velton and Jessica Goltra, their families, and the school staff who supported this program. On behalf of the Board of Education, congratulations to Pacifica High School and its dance team for continuing to raise the bar. Your achievements bring pride to the entire district. Go Mariners.
Yeah, can you get a couple more over here, please?
Hello, everyone. I'm Jessica Goltra, one of the coaches, proud coaches of the Pacifica Dance Team. And we just want to thank you guys for honoring all of their hard work. I feel like dance is an art form and a sport that not a lot of people know about, so I'm glad we can highlight this for the community. We support a lot of other sports activities at our school, as you heard, as well as working hard towards our own goals of competing at our national competition. So these girls practice every day. We build up throughout the season. They spend their whole spring break practicing because our nationals was literally during their spring break. But they put in hours and hours, and it just feels really good to be recognized with this city. We're really proud to represent Garden Grove and Pacifica as well. And I'm really proud to be their coach. So thank you very much.
Thank you. We're going to be moving on to other city business and oral communication. So dance team, if you would like to stay, you may, but if you'd like, we can take a brief moment for you guys to to head out and enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you for being here
miss
tonight.
all the boring stuff.
Yeah. Madam Clerk, just for a point of clarification, I have 2 pink cards for sanitary. Will I take those collectively now or wait until that time?
If they identify the public hearing item, then that will be a public hearing item, oral communications.
Okay, then I'll hold on to those for at that time.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Then we will go ahead and get started with oral communication. Is Arlo Fabian, are you here? There he is. We'll start with you this evening.
Good evening, Mayor, council members, and staff. At the last City Council meeting I attended in May, I spoke about how I wondered how much more could be done if more people took responsibility and helped clean up our neighborhoods. I call this idea the Trash Force. I'm here today to share that this Saturday, June 14th, I will be hosting my first trash pickup at the Hasler Basin Park in Garden Grove. My idea only became possible with the support of our city leadership. I'd like to thank our mayor and city council for listening to my public comments and encouraging me along the way. I felt extremely honored when I was given the opportunity to speak with City Manager Lisa Kim and Assistant to the City Manager Sean Park. They asked me more about my idea and said about helping me make it a reality. They connected me to the Real Estate Development Forum, Edgemoor, to brainstorm ideas for planning the event, from soliciting donations to recruiting volunteers. Just like my idea, the Trash Force community cleanup event has been a collaboration between local businesses like Edgemoor, Home Depot, Starbucks, and Raising Cane's, and Republic Services, as well as local government and our parks and police department. I look forward to involving more young people by collaborating with the school district when school is back in session in the fall. I believe events like this will further develop a greater responsibility to our own waste practices. I would like to invite anyone in our community to come out to Hasler Basin Park from 9:30 to 10:30 a.m. this Saturday to take part in making our community better. Thank you.
Thank you. Tony Flores.
Good evening, Mayor, council members, staff. It's been a while since I've been here, but I haven't said it just yet publicly, but congratulations again, Mayor. We're glad you're sitting there. Let me get going here. I've got just a few minutes. Earlier, I sent you folks a email today with a number of attachments. Hopefully you had a chance to look at those. I'll go through them briefly. The first one is from 2015 from the district attorney regarding Andrew Doe. In there, there was some things that were going on with Mr. Doe that I think the district attorney didn't really look at thoroughly. If he had, Mr. Doe might be doing 5 years right now. might have slowed them down and kept them in check. But read through that when you get some time. The next one has to do with an incident that happened here in 2016 regarding a former employee and the inactions, or excuse me, the violations of the Brown Act by the City Council, all 5 of them at the time. But this one actually talks about the Brown Act violation. It's interesting because in one paragraph it says they had insufficient evidence, and the very next said that they violated the spirit and the intent of the Brown Act. Read through that. The reason I'm bringing these up because I'm the one that did investigation on these, and I sent them in, and I'll be doing some investigation and other things coming up that's going to be in front of all you folks here pretty soon. The next thing has to do with the site plan 159-205. That has to do with the project over on not Harbinger Motors, looks like, but you snuck in an address on Valley View. Apparently, there's potential building going to be going on there, or at least an application that was put in by, I think it's Pro Shop, I believe. I might be pronouncing that wrong. But in any case, 158 condos. We don't need any more overbuilding there. We just don't need it. And you're looking at the person who's going to be leading the opposition to that out of West Garden Grove. We have a problem with that. Also, too, I noticed that in that mailer, there's been like at least 2 or 3 times that I guess it was recalled, and it was done erroneously, and there were some errors in it. The next attachment has to do with the FPPC violation that I sent in a while back regarding the Measure O. The city was fined about $18,000 on that one. The reason I'm bringing that up is it looks like we've got a campaign, an active campaign to increase the high-density housing. And I know it's coming from the state, but we should be able to fight that. The next one has to do with the California's high-density housing policies and the negative impacts thereof. That's the fifth attachment. Please read through that. But among them, it's going to negatively affect our infrastructure, our roads, our sewers, and other things that just have some problems with it. In decreased property values, going to be hard to get insurance. And of course, crime is always an issue when it comes to high-density housing. So please keep an eye on that. You folks have my email address. You have my number. We can talk further. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Victor? That's all I have.
Thank you. Hey, congratulations everyone for your positions and being volunteers. I don't know if you're on salary or volunteers, but you're doing a great job. Appreciate it. I'd like to also say quickly on my short time, appreciating law enforcement and veterans for the city of Garden Grove, because we're a law enforcement family and also a military family. So that's first and foremost. I'm here today simply to bring up a particular issue, which is that it comes to my attention that the Republic Services service contract, they had a 10-year contract. It is should be put up for bid every 10 years, put out to bid in an open market. I'm a numbers guy. I think Joe might be a numbers guy too. It comes to my attention that it was not put up to bid, and they were given an automatic renewal, which is considered an evergreen contract in the state of California. It puts residential, it puts industrial, it puts commercial, and it puts strap finances on businesses that are already struggling in a difficult economy. The city gave Republic Services an additional, I believe, 10 years, which begins again at the end of this month, June 30th, for another 10 years. That'll be a 20-year term without going out to bid. There's a lot of competitive companies: Ware Disposal, CR&R, Edco, Roberts, Waste Services, Republic Services does free market service in Costa Mesa, Newport Beach, I believe. A lot of other cities in Orange County still have open competitive markets. They use the same landfills, so they have the same cost. They get to negotiate the cost. Actually, the haulers do with the landfills. But they use the same fuel, the same trucks, the same tires, and the same overhead across the board. But the city of Garden Grove, in my opinion, was negligent in not putting out their 10-year contract up for bid. Who eats that cost? Our industrial, commercial, and business personnel. Those businesses are going to be hurt. The city of Garden Grove is benefiting from that because they get a 10% stipend from, I think that's monthly, from the gross receipts from Republic Services. So when Republic Services is getting paid by all of the tenants in Garden Grove, 10% every month of that gross income goes directly to the city for the favor of having an exclusive contract. That does account for many millions of dollars that the city of Garden Grove receives. And I just don't think that that's justified by the city not putting out the contract to bid and getting competitive bids from other haulers. If anyone has any questions, please feel free to ask me.
Oh, this isn't we can't do an oral communication. We can't have a back and forth conversation, but I have your information here.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Karenza Shutman.
Just FYI, I think someone left their phone. I'll just leave it here. Good evening, Mayor and council members. My name is Karenza Shutman. I'm a senior labor representative with OCEA and lead negotiator for the City of Garden Grove Employees Association and the Garden Grove Employees League. I am here tonight speaking exclusively on behalf of the League, as the association is still voting on the city's latest proposal. We're here negotiating wages and benefits for ourselves and our families, but also to stand up for the dignity and respect we earn every single day as the backbone of Garden Grove's public works. After careful consideration, the Garden Grove League members have overwhelmingly voted to reject the city's last, best, and final offer. This decision was not made lightly. While the city's proposal includes some positives, it still falls short of addressing the real-world challenges League members face. It's ironic that negotiations has reached this point. We weren't miles apart at the table. We were making progress, moving closer together. But instead of continuing to bargain in good faith, the city made a deliberate, destabilizing choice to pull the plug early and present a last, best, and final offer more than 3 weeks before our contract even expired. That action halted meaningful dialogue and needlessly escalated tensions. Good faith bargaining means pushing through tough issues together, not shutting down talks prematurely. There are 3 key issues left: wages that keep pace with the rising cost of living, healthcare contributions that reflect actual expenses, and meaningful recognition of long-term service. Let me be clear. A 3% general wage increase in year 1, when inflation has consistently outpaced previous wage growth, isn't a raise, it's a disguised pay cut. Proposing only an additional salary step in year 2 leaves nearly half of our members struggling without the immediate relief they desperately need, especially since the city refused to eliminate steps B and C for us as it did for other bargaining units. Rejecting modest longevity pay increases while other groups receive more is not just unfair, it's a disrespectful betrayal of our members' loyalty to the city. And locking in healthcare contributions that don't reflect rising costs means our members are left to unfairly shoulder too much of the burden. League members take great pride in their service to Garden Grove and its residents. Their overwhelming vote to reject this proposal reflects a demand for fairness, not a desire for conflict. The community benefits most from a stable workforce that feels valued and fairly compensated. With contract expiration approaching, the path forward is clear. Dig in and prolong a standoff that no one wants, or show leadership, come back to the table, and work with us to get this done correctly. We're ready to return to the table in a spirit of collaboration. We sincerely hope the city is ready to meet us there. Thank you.
Joe Nightingale.
Evening, Mayor and City Council. This is my first time here. I didn't realize there was a 3-minute time limit. The issue that I have to discuss is going to take a lot more than 3 minutes. But I do believe, Mayor, that one of your aides, either Mia or Pam, has scheduled an appointment for you and I to meet one-on-one. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nicholas Dibbs.
Mayor Kloffenstein, members of the council. My name is Nicholas Dibbs, teacher educator. First off, I want to say it's been a pleasure to attend today's college graduates reception. I've been a co-sponsor of that event since 2017. I thank Mayor Jones, former Mayor Jones, for bringing that forward several years ago. As a teacher and an educator, it's important that we do our best to educate the students. As a Mariner and for honors graduate of Pacifica High School, I also salute the dance team that was just recognized. I do want to say that with regard to the 20 or so men behind me who are from Public Works, it reminds me of when the school district did not bargain in good faith with the bus drivers, and they were given a small raise while the supervisors were given a big raise. So I have a suggestion for the city with regard to fairness, because that's what they're talking about. And in fairness, what the city should be doing, and I'll get to the school district in a minute, but what the city should be doing in fairness is give everybody, Public Works and everyone, the same raise, so that everyone is treated with the same percentage increase, and be fair. Because what happened of these bus drivers who were given a tiny raise during COVID, and the 4 supervisors given $25,000 or more a year raise in 1 year, the district eventually had to walk it back. So be fair with these men and women, and just establish a policy that's fair for everyone, that the supervisors get a 5% raise or whatever it is, then the frontline workers should get the same. That's all, on fairness. Now, with regard to the school district, I've commented in the past that, you know, others and I want to be treated fair. And it's not fair when taxpayer money is used to influence votes from September 17th to the middle or end of October of 2024 in the race for school board using taxpayer money, and it's not right. And so we need to have fair elections in this country. I don't feel like living in a banana republic. And there will be an investigation of what happened, but that was wrong. And so we need fairness, whether it's at the school district or here in the city. And so I speak out as a teacher and an educator that all I want, because they hijacked the election in 2016 and they did it again in 24 against me, and I don't think it's right. So let's have fairness here also in the city and treat your public works workers with a fair raise. Give everybody the same percent, whether they're in management or in the Employees Association. Thank you.
All right, that's all the pink cards I have under oral communication. If there's nobody else wishing to speak under oral communication, we will recess and move on to other legislative bodies. First step would be successor agency. Madam Clerk, if you could call roll, please.
Councilmember Brightingham.
Here.
Member Nguyen.
Here.
Member Tran.
Here.
Member Dovin. Member Aristegui.
Here.
Vice Chair Muñoz.
Here.
And Chair Klopfenstein.
Here. All right, we have already held oral communication, so we will move on to the consent calendar. I have a receive and file the minutes from the meeting held on May 27th.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Call for the vote, please.
Motion received, 7 yes votes.
All right, on to item number 2. This is under public hearing.
Yes, this evening we do have a public hearing for the adoption of a resolution approving the successor agency's biannual budget for fiscal years 2025 through 26 and 2026 through 27, and Finance Director Patricia Song is here to provide that report.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Good evening, Madam Chair, Vice Chair, and members of Successor Agency. Can someone bring up the slides on the screen, please? Thank you so much. All right, so it is my pleasure to present you the proposed biannual budget for the Garden Grove Successor Agency for fiscal years 2026, and 2027. The Successor Agency was created back in 2012 after the dissolution of the Garden Grove Redevelopment Agency. The agency's budget I'm sorry?
Is it the Housing Authority?
Oh, I'm so sorry. Okay. Excuse me for that.
It's so good. There we go.
All right.
Successor.
Yeah. Excuse me for that. All right. So, back in 2012, the Successor Agency was created as a result of dissolution of the former Garden Grove Redevelopment Agency. And the agency's budget is guided by what's called the Recognized Obligation Payment Schedule, or ROPS, which is approved by the State Department of Finance at the start of each calendar year. For fiscal year 2026, the approved ROPS totals about $8 million. Of that amount, $7.7 million is dedicated to debt service payments, and the remaining $300,000 covers administrative costs. As of now, the Successor Agency has about $45 million in outstanding long-term obligations, including 2 tax allocation bonds and a loan from the city, and some of the developer notes. So this budget shows that there's a balanced budget from what the distribution from the residual property tax fund that the city will be receiving as approved by the DOF, as well as all of the administrative costs, as well as contractual and recognized obligation payment. So that concludes my presentation, and happy to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the update and report. Colleagues, any questions for staff before I open the public hearing?
Madam, I do have one. Chair? I'm sorry. On successor agencies, I guess it was a formally redevelopment agencies that kind of, and I'm seeing more and more cities are dissolving their successor agencies now. Do we have a timeline or when our successor agency will be dissolved as well? I'm sure we can't just keep it going indefinitely.
Right. When we pay off our last obligation, long-term obligation, then the successor agency can be dissolved. The latest tax allocation bond was issued back in 2016, which currently has $28 million outstanding. So we're hoping that by 2036, this debt can be paid off and the successor agency can be going away. Yeah.
So we're looking at least another 11 years.
Correct.
Thank you.
You're
And with
welcome.
that, I'll make a motion.
I have to open the public hearing.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Any other questions of staff before I open the public hearing? Okay, with that, we will go ahead and open the public hearing. Are there anyone in the public wishing to speak on this particular item? Biennial budget for a successor. All right, seeing none, I will close the public hearing. This is a time for member discussion, or I'll entertain a motion.
Second.
Motion and a second. Call for the vote, please.
Motion received, 7 yes votes.
All right, any matters from successor agency members? All right, seeing none, we will adjourn and head to sanitary district. Madam Clerk, please call roll.
Member Brightingham.
Here.
Member Nguyen.
Here.
Member Dovin.
Present.
Member Muñetón.
Here.
Member Aristegui.
Here.
Vice President Tran.
Here.
And President Klopfenstein.
Here. We have held oral communication already. I do have pink cards, but I'm holding those until item number 2. And we have now 4 public hearing items.
Yes, for the first public hearing item, we have adoption of resolutions approving the Garden Grove Sanitary District's biannual budget for fiscal years 2025 through 26 and 2026 through 27. And Finance Director Patricia Song is here to provide that report.
Good evening, Madam President, Vice President, and members of Sanitary District Board. Before I begin presenting the proposed biannual budget for the fiscal year 26 and 27, I'd like to start with a brief overview of the 7 business principles of the district. So the Sanitary District follows 7 core business principles that guide its operations and help ensure long-term sustainability and accountability. First and foremost, it is to operate without a deficit. This is achieved by ensuring operational efficiency as well as regularly updating the rate model to make sure that customer charges are sufficient to cover both day-to-day operations and long-term capital needs. Second, the district maintains a cash reserve equal to 2 months of operating expenses plus an additional $500,000 set aside for emergencies or unexpected situations. Third, the district is committed to provide consistent, reliable service for all of its customers. Also, establish a replacement sinking fund, which is equal to 5% of the total system value, and this ensures the ability to plan and pay for major repairs and replacements as the infrastructure ages. Fifth, regularly benchmark performance and practices against industry standards to stay efficient and competitive. Sixth, ensure full compliance with all debt covenant requirements. And finally, maintain a 10-year financial plan to support long-term decision-making and stability. So these principles are the foundation of how the district manages its finances and delivers service to our community. With that, I'm pleased to present the proposed budget for your consideration as part of tonight's public hearing. The district covers two important services to our community: the sewer utility and the refuse disposal and collection. Sewer utility anticipates to collect approximately $12 million in service charges each year. Operating costs are estimated to be about $11 million. The excess is primarily due to the capital replacement component in the rate structure. The district maintains a sewer system worth over $130 million. Depreciation of the system each year is about $2 million. Included in the sewer rate structure, there is a component to replace and renew the sewer system to ensure continued service to our community. Funds are collected through day-to-day uses in the bi-monthly water bills. This might not be sufficient to fund large capital projects at a given point of time. Therefore, sometimes financing is necessary. The last sewer bond was issued in 2017, and now it carries a balance about $11 million. Also included in sewer utility budget is a capital improvement project, total about $15 million for the next 2 years. There are 8 projects identified. All of them are part of the master sewer plan. The city does not directly provide municipal refuse collection and disposal services. Instead, these services are managed through an exclusive franchise agreement with Republic Services. Under this arrangement, Republic Services is responsible for residential, commercial, and multifamily waste collection within the city. The sanitary district oversees the contract to ensure compliance with service standards and environmental regulations. The majority revenue sources for the refuse fund is the franchise fee, approximately $3 million, and most of the spending in this fund are related to personnel costs and contractual costs. The city contracts with a couple of consultants to ensure compliances and the program implementation, and additional funds are to set aside or budgeted for landfill monitoring and compliance as well. That concludes my presentation, and if there's any questions from the board, I'll be here happy to answer them.
Thank you, Patricia. Any questions for staff? Seeing none, I'll go ahead and open the public hearing. I do not. Anyone wishing to speak on this item? Sir, please.
Thank you. Again, my name is Victor. Again, I just wanted to comment. I think you mentioned that there was the franchise agreement with Republic Services is the exclusive monopoly for the city of Garden Grove. And by the way, is there any comment I can receive from the board during this, or is this just a one?
Yeah,
one-way
if you'd like
street?
to leave an email or something with the city clerk.
No, that's okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Okay, I'd just like to emphasize that because all the businesses in industrial, commercial, I think she mentioned commercial and residential, leaving out industrial, but that's part of the matrix. When it comes to the exclusive franchise for the city, it is a 10-year contract that was expiring at the end of this month. I would like the city to reevaluate the situation because it hasn't completely rolled over. There's another 2.5 weeks where it can. And consider putting the services across the board out to bid in an open, free market, competitive structure with the other qualified haulers that are under the Orange County Municipal Solid Waste District envelope, because they all dump at the same location. They all have the same trucks, the same equipment, the same workers. And unfortunately, Republic Services in the city of Garden Grove has a 40% on average rate differential, where their rates for a competitive market for the same equipment in Orange County in an open market, they are 40% higher in the city of Garden Grove right now. And I'll say a quick example, and I'll leave it at that. For example, Newport Beach, a 1.4 cubic yard business bin may go for $165 a month. City of Garden Grove, under your exclusive monopoly, franchise monopoly agreement with Republic Waste, is approximately, with a 4% increase going in effect at the end of the month, about 40% higher. That hurts all the businesses. It hurts the residential. There's no reason for that to happen. So I'm into cost reduction. I'm a numbers guy. If your businesses save money, they can pay their taxes, they can hire more people, they can be basically good partners in the city of Garden Grove. Continue. You'll see less lease availability and such. People need to be solvent, and that is one critical issue where they really, really need help. So putting out a utility such as solid waste, which should be done, and was an original contract where it was going to go up for bid in 10 years. The city didn't put it out to bid. They rolled it over for an additional 10 years. I don't know whose infinite wisdom came up with that, but that shouldn't be done. It should be transparent, should be an open competitive market. It's still available to do. I think you should reconsider that with the city of, or with Republic Services, and you have a representative here right now. And I'd be happy to discuss that further with anyone afterwards. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak on this item? All right, with that, I'll close the public hearing. Is there any discussion, or I'll entertain a motion?
I have a question of staff, and it kind of, piqued my interest hearing from Mr. Victor and whatnot. I remember when we were going through that, and honestly, it doesn't have anything to do with the budget, but it does go to the contract that we did. And we had public hearings, we had folks from the community come and offer input and this and that. And at that time, the whole not going out to bid had come up. And this was about 2 years ago, if I remember right, a little over 2 years ago. Maybe shorter than that, I don't know. But with that being said, what was the rationale at that time that was given? Can you clarify that for us as far as the city attorney? I hate to put you on the spot like that, but
No, it's fine.
because I know
but-
the city got a lot more than just. I mean, there was some other things, but go ahead and I'll let you answer.
Yeah, so the contract was not expiring, and the contract right now is in year 3, I believe.
Right,
So there's
right.
still 7 years into the contract, so there's no expiration in the near future.
Correct.
And if you recall, the state adopted new regulations pertaining to organics recycling. And we needed to implement these programs. And what happened is, in a way, we piggybacked because we had other agencies that had gone out to bid. Based on those bids, we knew more or less, the cost moving forward. And I believe that was part of the city council's consideration at the time. So it's not that, the contract was not bid, it's that I believe Santa Ana had recently done their bid and gone through that process, which takes about 2 years. And to change a hauler while we're trying to implement new programs was going to be, difficult. And I believe the city council at the time did decide to look at the recent bids that were received by Santa Ana. I believe Anaheim also had gone out to bid, and move forward in that, for that reason.
And that was 3 years ago when the contract expired. So we're 3 years into the new contract, so there's only 7 years left.
Yeah, so the contract had not expired. We adopted, or the city council approved, a restated and amended contract moving forward.
Okay. So, and there's 7 years left.
It may be more, because I think it was a 10-year plus a 5-year renewal.
Roger. Okay. Thank you. I just want to clarify that. And with that, I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion, and a second. Call for the vote, please.
Motion received, 7 yes votes.
Move on to public hearing item number 2.
Good memory, Omar.
Item number 2 is adoption of a resolution to authorize the imposition of liens on parcels with delinquent payments for refuse collection and disposal service charges, and Ms. Song is going to provide that report.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Good evening, Madam President and the board members of the Sanitary District. This item is another public hearing, and its purpose is to consider placing liens on parcels with delinquent refuse collection and disposal service charges. As you know, refuse services are provided by Republic Services, which bills customers on a quarterly basis. The final billing for the current fiscal year was mailed out in February, and any unpaid charges from that billing became delinquent as of May 1st. Under the State Health and Safety Code, any delinquent amounts, along with 10% penalty, can be filed with the county auditor controller. Once recorded by the county, the delinquent amount becomes a lien on the property and may be collected through property tax roll. Per our franchise agreement with Republic Services, the city is required each year to submit a list of delinquent parcels to the county so that Republic can recover those unpaid amounts through property tax billing. Before moving forward with the lien process, staff and Republic Services followed the board's direction to ensure that property owners also receive proper notice if the property is tenant occupied. So in addition to mailed letters and automated calls, Republic assigned dedicated representatives to make live phone calls to residential customers in Garden Grove. To comply with past requests from the board, the public hearing notice was also translated into Korean, Spanish, and Vietnamese, and published in local newspapers serving those communities, just to ensure broad communication is reached out. I'd like to highlight some of the updates since the delinquent report was first prepared. So the original report attached to the resolution was generated by Republic Services in late May and included 1,801 parcels with delinquent amount ranging from $27 to $1,125. Since then, 790 customers have paid their past due balances. As of yesterday, the number of the delinquent parcels has decreased to 1,011, and the total delinquent amount has been reduced by 38%, down to $262,193. And customers still can make a payment until July 14th, 2025 to bring their accounts current. Any parcels paid in full by that date will be removed from the list to be submitted to the county. So following the close of the public hearing, staff recommends that the board to adopt the resolution authorizing the collection of the delinquent refuse collection and disposal charges on the property tax roll, which requires 5 affirmative votes, and direct staff to file the necessary documentation with the county for inclusion on the upcoming property tax bills. That concludes my presentation on this item. We have representatives from Republic Services with us this evening, and together would be happy to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you for the presentation. Any questions of staff before I open the public hearing?
I have a question.
Okay.
So I have a couple of the residents reach out to me, and they know that they have to pay, but depend on the circumstances. Especially in this case, the resident is really like an elder, older than 70 years old, so he cannot work. He doesn't make any money, and so he needs help. And that's for the reason why there was the delay or the due or overdue payment bill. So the question, I know that I did ask the staff on, what are all the programs out there to help them, but I actually want the representative from Republican Service to come up, and if you could answer that question, do you have any program to help elderly or people that have the situation where they cannot pay, and what are the programs that you could help them?
Thank you, Councilwoman. Or today we're Director, I think. Michael Johnson over at Republic Services. I brought George Lorena as well. So to answer your question, each year this is a process. It's a unique process, but It's our intention to work with every resident. We'll set up things like payment plans. We really want to have that interface with the resident. I think that resident specifically I was able to talk to today, thanks to some of our legislative partners, and they told me they talked with you, so thanks for those efforts. And I think he's going to make an initial payment. And we said, look, it's our desire to continue with service. We have a health and safety code we have to prepare for. And then he mentioned too that he'd been working with your city staff to look at a senior program that is part of the program, and we're going to continue on service and work with that individual and anyone else. We've talked to a few residents in the audience today, and I think long story short, we've always been able to work it out with whatever resident. On the other end, you can't go 2 years without paying a trash bill. At some point, we've got to figure out some solutions, and but we're not going to be heavy-handed with anyone.
So you don't really have like a specific program, but they just need to reach out to the staff or to you guys, and you will be able to work with individuals based on case by cases, right?
Well, we don't have a fund budgeted for that specifically, but the gentleman talked about a senior discount, and then sometimes we can right-size their program as well. We can, but at this point, we do have a residential rate that is citywide and spread across. So I think the bottom line is we're not going to stop that resident service, so they can maintain their pickup. And I think we came to a conclusion today with them.
Yeah, I think if as long as you work with the person and try not to cut off the service, then that's at least there's the effort there. So thank you for trying that. And then another question I have is in the report, anyone that they don't pay by the May 1st, there will be a 10% penalty. So I know that many of them, hundreds or thousands of dollars, and they cannot pay that amount. Now we add another 10% penalty at May 1st. Do you have the date? It's like set already, or do they have a couple more days to pay? Because today is not May 1st, so it's already passed.
I may defer that question to our finance experts. I think that might be part of a county assessment, but can I direct that over?
Sure, yeah, by contract, it says in the contract, the service agreement, that there's a 10% penalty assessed when the amount becomes delinquent. But again, it's Republic Services, you have the discretion of waiving the penalty if the amount is paid, or it's a company policy that we don't get involved in. The calculation, everything is done by Republic Services. The city is really receiving those total amounts and place it on the tax roll to submit to the county. So it might be a company policy that you have.
Well, I have enough authority to be able to work with that, and if that resident again wants to work with us, then we will work with them. So.
Yeah, I think that one just in specifically that you work with that residents, but then I'm talking about all the people that have the delinquent here, and so we already saw the 10%. And like I said, they have hard time to pay the amount that they already have and add the 10%, and they already passed. I'm not so sure. I'm guessing that they already received the paper and try to pay when they can. But if that's something that you could consider in terms of the percentage or the date, so instead of May 1st, I do not know, you could go back and check. As our staff already said, that that's not something that our city decided. That is something that from your company.
Director Tran, if I may also, there are plenty of customers who prefer to get their bills through the tax rolls, and they deliberately don't pay their bills so that they can be charged on the tax rolls. So it's not that everyone on this list is not able to pay. It's that they deliberately decided that they would prefer to pay on the tax rolls for whatever reason, and for that reason they don't pay. They get their bills and they don't pay, and they understand they get a 10% penalty, but that's cost of doing business when they wish to be charged on the tax rolls.
I understand that, but what I'm trying to say that the people that I talk to, they have hard time to pay the amount that overdue, and so if there anything that we can do to help, that's why people love about Garden Grove City. We love about the people that we work with, right? So if there is anything, any way that you can do to help the resident, that would be appreciated. I think I'm end my conversation here. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, in these specific regards, I see most of the people that have reached out to me over the years tend to be landlords that are renting out properties, and their tenants, they just assume are going to pay the bill, and maybe they do for a few years, and then right before they leave, maybe a year, maybe two, they stop paying, and then the landlord gets hit with the bill, and it's terrible for them, but it is a service that has to be provided. And my recommendation, if there's any people who are landlords, owners, rental property, take on that bill yourself, in your own name. Don't pass it off to your renter, and adjust the rent accordingly. But that'll probably take a lot of these off of the list, because they get hit with those fines and whatnot, and they didn't even know it because they don't get the mailer. The renter gets the notice, and so they don't know it until the renter's gone, and now they're stuck with the bill. So anyway, if there's any other comments, I'll make the motion.
No, we have to, that was just questions of
Great.
staff.
Oh,
We've
okay.
got to go into the public hearing now. So unless there's any other questions for staff, I'll go ahead and open the public hearing. Okay. I do have 2 cards on this item. The first is Noel Perez Jr.
Mayor, members of the City Council, my name is Noel Perez Jr. And I am speaking I'm responding to a letter I received, a notice that I received from Republic Services pertaining to delinquent solid waste disposal fees, stating notice is hereby given that rubbish disposal bills that are delinquent greater than 60 days and remain unpaid as of July 14 will be added to the property tax roll for collection. The sanitary board directors will review and approve as a charge against the property the amount delinquent, the amount, penalty, and interest, and if still unpaid, the delinquent bill shall be filed with the county auditor, and upon recordation by the county recorder shall be the lien against the property. The fact is that this was really in regard to a allegedly unpaid bill that was due on January 5th, 2025, and I paid that. I have proof of payment of that, but here's the proof. Notice there's a rip on this money order that was made for the amount of $85.71. This was sent to me. This was sent to me by the post office at the Stanford branch, stating that they apologized for damaging and causing for inconvenience for this damaged check, somehow ripped. I made out another money order. Okay, this one was dated. Actually, this one was dated on the 20. This was made on December 4th, 2024. Before the due date. And I made out another money order. I figured, well, I guess I lost $85.71, so I made a same money order at the Walmart branch, Walmart at the Gilbert branch, for that amount. That was in December 26th. I mailed it to them, and mailed it, and I get a letter. I get a letter from Republic Services saying that I was overdue on a payment that was already paid, but I guess they never received it somehow. I don't know what it is, but I mean the issue is really it's not that I was delinquent of the payment, because the evidence I have here is proof that I did pay it, and I was not delinquent of the payment. So what I'm asking the Garden Grove Sanitary District really is to clear my name off the county auditors, because I did pay this. I did make that payment.
Sir, technically your time's up. I apologize. Thank you for your comments this evening. The other pink card I have is, I believe it's Alfredo Santa Maria.
Hello, good evening. I don't write anything, but I guess the same thing. I got a letter from the city saying that I was delinquent with my trash. Mm-hmm. So I moved back. I rented my house out about 6 months. I came back 6 months ago. When I came, there was no trash cans. I called the Republic. I called the more than 3 times. I called for them to bring me trash cans. They never brought anything for like 6 months. Mm-hmm. So now I have every time I get trash, I take it with my truck and I take it to my shop, because I don't have nothing, no trash can to throw my trash away. That's it.
Okay.
I mean,
We'll have Republic reach out to you to maybe answer that question. Thank you very much.
Oh, thanks.
Yes. Is there anyone else wishing to speak under the public hearing? Sir, please address the podium.
Subal Goswami. I own a property in 10651 Brooker Street, unincorporated part of the county. My tenant apparently didn't pay the rent, and I have no idea. I live in San Diego. And there must be some way. They got the green light to put a lien on my property, but do not have any way to contact me. I'm a public, as an owner, I have a public record. I'm the owner, right? Why can't they notify me? That is my question. They know they got a lien coming ahead, right? Why can't they notify us as the owner? I'm in a public record who own the property, but I never got anything. And now they're going for a lien. That's probably part of the reason why they're doing it, because they have a lien. So I think they should make some kind of a provision that we must be notified owner of record before this happens.
Thank you for your comments. We'll make
Okay.
sure someone reaches out to clarify with you. Thank you.
Mm.
Anyone else wishing to speak? All right, with that, I will close the public hearing. And Secretary, please provide a report regarding protests received for the proposed assessment.
Thank you, President Klumpenstein and board members. At this time, I would like to enter into the record that the following information, that as of the close of this public hearing, the city clerk's office has received 1 protest regarding this action, and therefore, there's not a majority protest.
Thank you. Members, any other discussion on this item before we vote?
Madam President.
Yes.
Let me get it right this time. Yeah, I do see, and this happens every year. We get, some folks that have had, and again, I think he has the same problem that I just talked to. The notice goes to the renter, doesn't go to the owner. I really think Republic should look at their system maybe and ensure that the owners are involved somehow in those things. I don't know how difficult that is, or if that's a very costly type of thing. Just a suggestion, really. And, I do reiterate, if you are an owner of property and you are renting it, put the trash bill in your own name. That way you get it, you pay it, you just add it to your monthly rental, and you don't get these surprise bills and surprise liens on your thing. So Hopefully Republic can come up with some kind of solution. It happens every year. The vast majority of the complaints are that specific. It's usually a landlord who's renting and he gets a surprise bill, right? So with that being said, there's not significant protests, and I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Call for the vote, please.
Motion received, 7 yes votes.
I appreciate Republic being here this evening to hopefully answer some questions and provide some clarification too.
One more thing. I have some other property, City of Moreno Valley. I get a notice from the trash company that your tenant not paying rent, the trash bill, and I go up to them or they take care of it. But I don't have anything like that. That's my time.
Okay, thank you, sir.
And also just a reminder that the list is not the final list. The property owners have until July 14th to clear up, the bill with Republic. So until then, you can talk to Republic about, these charges.
Very good. Thank you for that clarification. We'll move on to public hearing item number 3.
Item number 3 is adoption of a resolution to collect refuse collection and disposal service charges on tax roll for properties located in Improvement District Number 1, and Ms. Song will provide the report.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Good evening, Madam President and members of the Sanitary District Board. This is the third public hearing on tonight's agenda. Staff is requesting your authorization to allow the refuse collection and disposal service charges to be collected on the county's property tax roll for properties located within Improvement District Number 1. Improvement District 1 was established in May 1997 as part of the Orange County reorganization. The properties within this district were formerly part of the Midway City Sanitary District. A map showing the boundaries of the district is included in the attachment to the resolution. Historically, customers in ID1 had their refuse collection and disposal charges included on their annual property tax bill. This approach was originally adopted in response to the request from those property owners, and the district intends to continue this method of collection for the convenience of our customers. To do so, the board is required to conduct a public hearing each year and approve a report detailing the specific charges for each parcel. Once approved, this report will be submitted to the county assessor's office so the appropriate fees can be added to each property owner's tax bill. The monthly service charge for standard residential service in Improvement District 1 will remain consistent with rates citywide. This includes one recycling bin, one green waste bin, which also collects or accepts food and other organic waste, and one general trash bin. The monthly rate will be $29.74 for residential, effective July 1st, 2025. So following the public hearing, we're recommending the board to take the following actions. First, it's to adopt the resolution authorizing the collection of refuse and disposal service charges on the property tax roll for Improvement District Number 1, which require 5 affirmative votes. And second is to direct staff to file necessary documents with the county to ensure these charges are properly placed on the tax bills. This concludes my report. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you very much. Any questions of staff before I open the public hearing? All right, seeing none, we will open the public hearing. Is there anyone from the public wishing to speak on item 3? All right, seeing none, we will close the public hearing. And Secretary, please provide a report regarding protests received for the proposed assessment.
At this time, I'd like to enter into the record that as of the close of this public hearing, the clerk's office has received 0 protests regarding this action. Therefore, there's not a majority protest.
Thank you. Members, any other comments or discussion? Otherwise, I'll entertain.
I guess I'll move to bill myself. I'll move it.
We have a motion. Do I have a second? I have a motion and a second. Call for the vote, please.
Out or something?
Yeah, I was about to ask that. Well, you're billing yourself. You're taking more money from yourself.
Motion received, 7 yes votes.
All right, and that takes us on to public hearing item number 4.
Item number 4 is adoption of a resolution to collect sewer service fees on tax roll for properties located outside the city limits, and Ms. Song will provide that report.
Thank you. Good evening, Madam President and members of the Sanitary District Board. I promise this item is the final public hearing on tonight's agenda for the district. We are requesting your authorization to allow the collection of sewer service charges through the county's property tax roll. This applies specifically to properties located outside the city's limits and do not receive water services from the city. For context, most properties served by the district also receive water from the city. And in those cases, sewer charges are conveniently included on the residents' water bills. However, for properties that don't get water service from the city, we need to place the sewer service charge directly on their property tax bill to ensure consistent and efficient collection. These fees were originally established by the board through ordinance numbers 7 and 10, adopted in 2005 and 2012. The rates were calculated to cover the full cost of operating and maintaining the district sewer system, paying off debt service and meeting both state and federal wastewater regulations. These charges are applied consistently to all customers receiving sewer service from the district. So whether it's on the tax roll or not, the rates are the same. Because the fees are based on water usage, so the amount charged varied by parcel. To place these charges on the tax roll, the county requires us to hold a public hearing and approve a detailed report listing the charges for each parcel. We're here tonight to fulfill that requirement. Upon conclusion of the public hearing, we recommend the board to adopt the resolution authorizing the collection of sewer service charges on the tax roll with 5 affirmative votes, and direct staff to file the necessary documentation with the county to place the charges on the property tax bills. That is all from me.
Thank you. All right, here we go again. Any questions of staff? I will then go ahead and open the public hearing. Anyone from the public wishing to speak? Come on up, Michael. Let's do this. You got something to say? All right. Anybody? Okay. Not now? Okay.
No, actually, I did have a comment on the elderly gentleman that left.
Yes. Can you come up and address, please? Yes, thank you.
Thank you. He does have a valid concern in the regard that from the front door, dealing with Republic Services on a customer service issue, since they do have the franchise monopoly, is horrible. If any one of us actually called their toll-free number, it's going to really, really strain you and stress you out. They're very, very difficult to get in the front door. Fortunately, the city does have a loophole because they have an ambassador that works with Republic Services. You get a hold of them, they call backdoor Republic Services, and they get things resolved, remedied fast. Late fees waived, so many other issues, bins that don't show up as promised, bulky item containers, so many other issues. So with the Republic Services in regards to that, the gentleman has a valid claim. He's disconnected and frustrated from contacting someone at customer service. It's really, really, any one of us that did that, not going through our resources and networking within the city, if you had to do what we had to do at the street level, it's very, very difficult. And they feel forgotten, they really do, because they are forgotten. They're just another account number. Additionally, no one can help them when they call in for services unless they're that person and they have their basically account number or their phone number. So you can't have a neighbor call and say, you know what, I'm doing this for them. You're not that person. So for example, if the tenant is trying to get information on how to pay a bill and the landlord's trying to get involved, the landlord can't. They're not on the account as an additional contact. That's something that Republic Services can enhance in their database and expand that. But because they have a monopoly, 2 things happen in monopolies and franchises. It doesn't matter if it's trash or anything else, PG&E or whatever. Customer service goes down, rates go up. And anyway, I don't want to be the dead horse, but once again, I don't know where this is on the city website, and maybe the city attorney can help me at a different time, but I would like to know when that 10-year contract actually expired, and then it was given another 5-year extension, and then when it actually expires, and if it's going to be another evergreen contract and roll over like this issue. I think it was just some lazy activity on the city's behalf, taking another city's documented bidding process and just slipping it under the rug and pushing this aside. I don't think that's in the benefits the paying customers in the city of Garden Grove. So I didn't like the way that was done. Everybody gets hurt, the city still gets their rate increase, less work at the city level. That's not on your table, because I don't think you were involved, many of you, at the time the decisions were made. I don't know if the city attorney was there either. But I like to see free enterprises in the United States of America, especially when cities have that ability to do it, because trash, like in Newport Beach and Costa Mesa, still can go out to bid with Republic Services, CR&R, many other qualified haulers that can take care of the customers and still give you a franchise fee. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you. With that, we will go ahead and close the public hearing. Secretary, please provide a report regarding protests received.
Yeah, at this time, I would like to enter into the record the following, that as of the close of this public hearing, the clerk's office has received 0 protests regarding this action. Therefore, there is not a majority protest.
Thank you. Members, any further discussion needed? Or I'll entertain a motion.
Move it. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Call for the vote, please.
Motion received, 7 yes votes.
Oops, hold on one second. Okay, with that, that moves us on to matters. Anything from board members? Anyone? Okay, with that, we will adjourn and head back to City Council. That takes us on to the consent calendar, items 3 through 11. Does anyone wish to pull an item? Or I will entertain a motion.
Yes, Mayor, I would like to pull number 3.
For 3, okay. Can we go ahead and have a motion on the balance, please?
Second.
Call for the vote on the balance, please.
Motion received, 7 yes votes.
All right, item number 3.
Yes. So item number 3 is the proclamation about park and recreation. And also in this proclamation, there's also provide some free services from our park. So I would like to read this so that way our residents know about this. May I?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Okay. Park Make Life Better Month, July 2025. Whereas parks and recreation essentially provide numerous environmental, social, and economic benefits that build a stronger, healthier, and more connected community. And whereas park and recreation creates memorable experience through youth sport and enrichment activity, teen center and programs, senior and family resources center, adult fitness and enrichment programs, free community events, and beyond. And whereas park and recreation foster social cohesion in community by celebrating diversity, providing space to come together peacefully, modeling compassion, promoting social equity, connecting social networks, and ensuring all people have access to its benefits. And whereas Garden Grove offer park shelter, playground, tennis, pickleball courts, indoor soccer and hockey arenas, skate sport, dog park, and event rental facilities. And whereas residents value their open space, such as Atlantis Play Center, Eastgate Park, Garden Grove Park, Jardin de los Niños, and the Medal of Honor bike and pedestrian trail for its access to safe outdoor spaces for children and adults to bike, walk, exercise, picnic, and be active. And whereas on July 17, the Community Service Department will celebrate this month with free recreation swim at Magnolia and Gary Hall pools, free drop-in at Sport and Recreation Center, free admission to Atlantis, and free kids activity at the summer concert at its skate park. And whereas the city of Garden Grove welcomes all its residents to recognize the park and recreation enhance the lives of its residents and visitors, as well as adding value to the community homes and neighborhoods. Now, therefore, the Garden Grove City Council does hereby proclaim the month of July 2025 as Park and Recreation Month, and in doing so, encourage all its residents to use and enjoy Garden Grove Parks, open spaces, facility, and recreational opportunity.
Thank you very much. We have a lot to offer, and we're very proud and appreciative and grateful for the parks that we do have in Garden Grove. Is that a motion as well?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, do I have a second? Second. Motion and a second. Call for the vote, please. Thank you.
Motion receives, 7 yes votes.
All right, that moves us on to, if you can believe it, more public hearings. Item number 12.
Yes, this evening, item number 12 is adoption of resolutions approving the city's biannual budget for fiscal years 2025 through 26 and 2026 through 27. And Finance Director Patricia Song will provide that report.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Good evening, Honorable Mayor and the members of the City Council. I'm pleased to be here tonight to present the City of Garden Grove proposed biannual budget for fiscal years 2026 and 2027. First of all, I want to thank you for reading through the 120-page agenda packet. It's a lot. I'm hoping I can walk you through over this presentation to make it a little easier for the eyes. So this budget was developed with your vision in mind, a vision shaped by collaboration and leadership to align city priorities with values and hopes of our community. Earlier this year, during the March 2025 retreat, the City Council reaffirmed its mission and vision. Out of that session, several strategic focus areas were identified to guide our planning and resource allocation. These areas are, first, ensuring efficient, high-quality police and fire services. Second, enhancing shopping, dining, and entertainment options while strengthening our economic base. Third, protecting residential neighborhoods from traffic impacts while also increasing housing opportunities. Fourth, celebrating our city's diversity by integrating all ethnic communities into events and encouraging multicultural participation. Fifth, promoting transparent and timely communication with our residents. And finally, investing in our employees and organizational development to ensure we continue delivering exceptional services. These focus areas are not just words. They are reflected throughout the projects and initiatives funded in this proposed budget. More specifically, the proposed budget supports 6 council priorities which share equal importance. Homelessness. We're implementing comprehensive strategies to reduce homelessness, from expanding shelter capacity to improving outreach and partnering with our regional agencies. Public safety. Police and fire services remain at the forefront, ensuring Garden Grove continues to be a safe and prepared community. Infrastructure. We're investing in roads, parks, and public facilities to meet current needs and support future growth. Economic development. This budget supports efforts to attract new investments, revitalize commercial areas, and help our local businesses thrive. Code enforcement. We are reinforcing efforts to maintain neighborhood quality and ensure compliance with city regulations, including property maintenance and zoning. Culture diversity. We continue to support multicultural events and programs that reflect and celebrate the vibrant, diverse community that makes Garden Grove unique. At the heart of this budget is a strong commitment to financial health and sustainability. That principle underpins every initiative and decision in this plan. Achieving financial health and sustainability takes a long-term and strategic approach. It's all about balancing fiscal discipline with delivery of quality services. One of the key principles behind this is having a structurally balanced budget, which simply means our ongoing revenues needs to cover our ongoing expenses. We avoid using one-time money to pay for things we'll need to fund year after year. The city's budget is organized into 4 major fund types, and each one requires a slightly different approach because they serve different purposes. Starting with the general fund, we use what's called baseline budget method. This means we assume the current level of funding is enough to maintain existing services, and we only make adjustments when necessary for things like inflation or cost of living increases, contractual or mandated obligations, and non-operational changes such as staffing updates or program adjustments. For other government-type funds like grants or special revenue funds, we only budget what we know we're going to receive. If new funding becomes available during the year, staff will return to the City Council to request adjustments and appropriations at that time. For business-type funds such as water utility, the budget is guided by what's known as rate covenant. That just means the fees and charges collected from users must be enough to support operations, including maintenance and capital improvements. And finally, we have internal service funds. These are used for essential shared services like fleet management, building maintenance, IT, and insurance. During the budget process, we calculate internal charges to fund each of these areas based on their service costs and upcoming capital needs. Occasionally, if we face large or unexpected expenses, we might need to make a one-time transfer to keep these funds sustainable. I'll go into more detail on that later in this presentation. Before we dive into the numbers, I want to take a moment to highlight a few key points about this biannual budget. First and foremost, I'm happy to share that we were able to achieve a balanced budget thanks to the strong collaboration across all departments. Here's how it all came together. The finance team met with each department several times to understand their funding needs. Departments then presented their spending plan to the budget committee. From there, committee carefully reviewed all requests and worked closely with finance to do further analysis. We look into alternative funding sources, we consolidate projects where possible, and even explore for smaller scale pilot programs. In total, 41 supplemental funding requests were submitted. After a thorough evaluation, 26 of those requests were approved, totaling $4.3 million over the next 2 years. And finally, this budget also takes advantage of some one-time funding sources to support strategic priorities. As we put this budget together, we also stayed mindful of some of the ongoing challenges that we're facing. We recognize the economic and fiscal uncertainties ahead, so we took a conservative approach to forecasting our revenues. At the same time, we've made it a priority to set aside funds for our aging infrastructure, and I'm happy to share that the Building and Facilities Rehabilitation Program, which was approved by City Council in 2023, is fully funded for the next 2 years. Pension liabilities remain one of the city's biggest long-term fiscal concerns. We plan to continue contributing to our Section 115 pension trust, but we're also exploring additional strategies to help us better manage this growing obligation. With that, let's go ahead and take a look at the numbers. Not too difficult, only 2 numbers here. The numbers here represents the amount of overall city spending plan for the next 2 years. These amounts cover citywide operations, including the Housing Authority, Sanitary District, and the successor agency that were just presented earlier tonight. Those 3 entities are component units. However, they are considered legally separate entities, which means their budgets must be adopted individually, and thank you all, those budgets were adopted earlier. That said, because they're all operating under the city's umbrella, I'll be including their budget as part of the rest of this presentation, unless separately noted. So let's take a quick look at the city's overall revenue estimates and proposed spending for the next 2 fiscal years. We're projecting total revenues to be about $752 million over the 2 years. On the spending side, we're planning for approximately $808 million. So at first glance, that might look like we're running a deficit, about $56 million more expenses than revenue, but that's not the case. So when we evaluate whether we have a balanced budget or not, we focus on operating revenues versus operating costs, not the total spending. The higher spending figure includes more than $82 million in capital improvement projects. If we put those aside, our operating revenue actually exceed our operating expenses across both years. So yes, this is a structurally balanced budget, operating budget. Now, you might notice that our planned spending for fiscal year 2027 is lower than 2026, and might wonder, does that mean we're cutting our programs or services? Answer is no. The year-over-year difference is mostly due to capital spending. In year 2, there's a $16 million drop in capital outlay compared to year 1. That's because we tend to front-load capital budgets so that funds are ready before projects begin, and we want to make sure funding is available for the entire projects, not just for the first 2 years. Departments do their best to estimate when those costs will hit, but it's a common practice for unspent capital funds to carry forward into future years as projects continue. We'll dive deeper into our capital improvement program a little later in this presentation. Let's take a moment to break down how the city allocates its overall spending by major municipal functions. First up, public safety. This is by far the largest portion of the budget, making up almost 40% of the citywide total across all funds. Each year, we spend approximately $35 million on fire protection and $95 million on police services. Next, public works, the non-utility portion. This covers a wide range of essential services like streets, traffic signals, parks, animal control, sidewalks, storm drains, and building and fleet maintenance. This part of the public works operates on a budget of over $60 million per year, and nearly half of that goes towards capital improvement projects. On the utility side, public works also manage 3 utilities: water, sewer, and refuse. We already talked about sewer and refuse earlier tonight under sanitary district's public hearing. We'll take a quick look at the water utility in just a bit, which operates on an annual budget about $50 million. Moving on to community services, this department brings arts, culture, recreation, and human services to our community. It runs on a budget of around $10 million per year, with an additional $2 million allocated for capital project for the next 2 years. Community development oversees all planning, zoning, building, code enforcement functions, and leads the Plan, Build, and Beautify initiative. It operates on a very lean budget of just under $9 million per year. Then there's economic development and housing department. Excluding Housing Authority and the successor agency, this department has a budget of about $20 million. Some of the major expenditures include developer incentives like tax rebates, or tourist improvement district pass-throughs. Municipal support, the next category, which includes citywide administrative functions like city manager's office, city attorney, finance, human resources, and information technology. That makes up about 9% of the overall budget, totaling $35 million. Of that, $17 million is personnel related and $12 million is for internal service funds, and $6 million covers contracts. Finally, debt service. Excluding water, sewer, and successor agency debt, it costs about $9 million per year. Starting 2026, we'll begin to pay, making full payments on our $140 million bond issued in 2024 for the Civic Center revitalization project. Even with that, our debt service still remain a very small portion of the total city spending, which is a strong signal to credit rating agencies when they evaluate our financial health. Now, as promised, let's talk about a water utility. Our Public Works Water Division provides essential service to nearly 170,000 residents across the city, with close to 30,000 active customer accounts. Each year, the utility delivers around 6.5 billion gallons of water to homes, schools, and business throughout the city. We have a robust water system that includes 13 active wells, which supply about 2/3 of our total water supply. The remaining 1/3 comes from water purchased from regional agencies. So whether it's drawn from our local groundwater or brought in from outside resources, we're committed to making sure Garden Grove has a safe and reliable water supply year-round. The water utility operates on 6 core business principles, and these principles are designed to ensure that we maintain a financially sound system that can reliably deliver high-quality water to our community. A recent budget workshop, council members asked about emergency reserves for this essential service. The answer is yes, absolutely. Emergency reserves are already built into our business principles,
In fact, both cash reserves and system replacement reserves are specifically addressed and fully incorporated into the biennial budget for the water utility. Looking at the proposed water utility budget for the next 2 years, revenue from service charges are projected to be just about equal to our anticipated expenses. This demonstrates the utility is successfully meeting its first two business principles, no operating deficit and maintaining a break-even budget. The water utility currently has one outstanding bond, the Garden Grove Public Financing Authority Water Revenue Bonds Series 2020. The bonds currently have a remaining balance about $20 million. In terms of reserves, the utility is in strong position. It maintains a healthy working capital of about $30 million, as shown on the slide here. Now let's take a look at where the money comes from to fund for all these essential functions. Earlier, I introduced the four main funds that we use to develop a fiscally sustainable budget. These are the general fund, other government fund, governmental type funds other than the general fund, business type funds, and internal service funds. Out of the city's $400 million spending plan, about $80 million goes towards the housing authority, sanitary district, and successor agency. That leaves around $320 million funded through the four major fund types shown on the slide. As you can see, the general fund accounts for the largest portion, about 60% of that $320 million. I'll go into more details on the general fund in just a minute. Next are the business type funds. Since sewer and refuse are all funded under the sanitary district, they're not included in this pie chart here. What you see here is just the water utility and the city's golf course operations. Then we have the other government type funds outside of the general fund. These include special revenue sources like gas tax, Measure M2, and various grant funds. Altogether, they support about 16% of our year one budget. Lastly, we have the internal service funds. The city has 8 of them, and they are designed to help centralize and efficiently manage shared services. These funds operate on a cost reimbursement basis. The use of internal service funds promotes cost transparency, efficiency, and long-term budget stability. Altogether, internal service funds make up about 9% of the overall city budget. Since the general fund is their biggest funding source, we'll be spending a little bit more time talking about the general fund. I like to think of this as the ABCDs of the general fund, a simple way to remember some key points about how it works and why it matters. A is for authority. So the general fund isn't tied to external restrictions, of course, other than the state GAN limits. So its use is determined by the city council. That means the council grants spending authorities through the adoption of the biannual budget. And in short, the general fund reflects the choices and priorities set by our city council. B is for borrowing. This fund plays a big role in our ability to borrow money. It's considered a core indicator of a city's overall financial health. When the general fund is strong, it gives us the ability to borrow for major capital projects when the time comes, such as our Civic Center revitalization project. C is for cash. Our cash position tells us a lot about liquidity, flexibility, and financial strength. Most of the cash the city collects for essential services like building permits is recorded in the general fund, no matter which department generates it. And unless otherwise designated, that revenue becomes available for general use, not just for that department. And D is for debt. The general fund also tracks liabilities, including debt issued to public and what we owe to the other agencies. Our largest long-term obligation is our pension debt, currently estimated at $378 million, according to the latest actuarial report from CalPERS. So again, authority, borrowing, cash, and debt, the general fund serves as the city's checkbook, and every year we spend the most amount of time and energy to develop a sound budget around our general fund. To further demonstrate the importance of the general fund, let's take a look at the various key functions of our city and how much they are reliant upon the general fund. Besides fire and debt service, all other municipal functions are supported by multiple funding sources. Public works, for example, Special revenues, gas tax, Measure M2, state and county allocations also contributes to the functionalities that Public Works non-utility portion provides to the city, and only 36% is funded out of the general fund. Community services rely on general fund for about 80% of their spending, the rest of them coming from grants or other fees. Community development, also heavily relying upon the general fund. About 94% of their budget is funded from the general fund. Economic development, general fund contributes to 31% of its overall budget, and the remaining part is coming from grants, state and county program funding. Municipal support, 36% coming from the general fund. The rest, the majority of the rest is coming from the internal service charges and some grants as well. Now let's shift the gears a little bit and talk about where the general fund gets its money. So in short, taxes. Taxes makes up nearly 90% of our general fund revenues. Here's the breakdown. Property tax brings in over $71 million a year. Sales tax, including Measure O, adds about $61 million annually. And our hotel visitors tax, or TOT, brings in just under $30 million per year. So you can see the general fund depends heavily on tax revenue to fund for key services that we all rely on. And that's why the overall health of the economy plays such a key role when we develop our budget. Here are the amounts for each critical general fund revenue component. Increases in charges for services are results from new building-related user fees going into effective in July. And license and permits, it's anticipated that new building permit fee will bring in additional $1.2 million per year to the city. But overall, you can see the revenue for the next 2 years on the average pretty much maintain the same level comparing to the current year. So that brings to this slide here. The chart here illustrates the revenue growth of each major revenue category. It's very obvious that the tax revenue growth is really leveling off over the next few years, which presents a significant challenge for our general fund, especially since 90% of it comes from taxes. So this slowdown is largely due to ongoing economic uncertainty. Higher interest rates are making it harder for properties to change hands. And under Proposition 13, property tax increases are capped at 2% annually unless ownership changes. At the same time, consumer confidence plays a big role in spending habits. When people pull back on spending, it directly affects key revenue sources like sales tax and transient occupancy tax from hotel stays. Speaking of hotel visitors tax, we're projecting this to stay relatively flat over the next 2 years as well. That's mainly because one of our major hotels will be undergoing a significant renovation, which will have a multi-million-dollar impact on revenue. But that said, with major events coming to our region, we're staying positive that we can keep the hotel visitors tax at $28 million. The events including Disneyland's 70th anniversary, the FIFA World Cup in 2026, and the Super Bowl in 2027, and also the Olympics in 2028, where the indoor volleyball will be hosted in Anaheim. So because of these challenges, we saw a key trend emerging during this budget cycle. Expenditure growth is outpacing revenue over the next 2 years. To stay fiscally responsible, it was decided that it is best to continue using baseline budget development approach for the general fund. And here is how it works. We begin with the current budget levels, remove any one-time expenses, and then add inflationary adjustment and known cost increases, things like contract obligations, mandates, personnel, salary increases. From there, we review the supplemental funding requests. A total of 41 requests were submitted for the 2-year period, totaling $10.4 million, among which $7.9 million is from the general fund. And again, after careful evaluation, $2.6 million was approved from the general fund. Combining the baseline budget and the approved supplemental requests, we arrived at the proposed general fund appropriation of $188 million for fiscal year 2026 and $195 million for fiscal year 2027. This slide here shows general fund spending by functional areas with a comparison to the current year. Most departments are seeing increases in their spending plans. For the few that shows decreases, it's primarily due to one-time funding included in the current year. For example, economic development. It had a one-time capital project for the Civic Center Plaza building and parking lot rehabilitation that is not included again in the next 2 years. Finance also saw a reduction in contractual services, specifically for merchant fees, thanks to the City Council for allowing us to pass those to the card users. So for fire department, you see the budget is increasing by 7%. We all know that the contractual services are capped at 4.5%. We're a cash contract city with OCFA. The difference, or the remaining 2.5%, was really due to the unfunded actuarial liability for the former Garden Grove Fire Department employees. Specifically, fire's UAL, we call the unfunded liability. It's $6.5 million in year 1 and then $6.7 million year 2. Again, pension related. This slide here gives you a breakdown of what general fund supports and how much goes to each area. Public safety takes up the largest share, nearly 70% of the general fund budget, which comes out about $126 million per year. This is fire and police combined. Public Works receives about $20 million, and that includes around $300,000 for capital projects. We allocate $12 million for core municipal support, things like city administration, legal services, and the day-to-day operations of finance, HR, and IT. Community services receive about $9 million from the general fund to support its $13 million budget. The rest comes from grants and user fees. Community development is allocated around $8 million a year from the general fund. And economic development, not including housing authority or successor agency, has a total budget of roughly $20 million, with $6 million of that coming from the general fund. That's about 3% of the total general fund spending. Lastly, we estimate about $10 million a year for debt service and utility costs, which makes up at about 5% of overall general fund budget. The table here shows how general fund dollars are spent by category. As you can see, nearly 60% of all general fund spending goes towards employee salaries and benefits. Our human resources team has completed negotiations with both Police Officers Association and the Police Management Group earlier this year. Agreements for mid-management and central management are also included in tonight's agenda. The proposed budget reflects the cost increases from these agreements. We've also costed in the estimates for similar wage increases and benefit increases for the remaining 2 labor groups, the League and the Employee Association. So those costs are already built in this budget as well. As I mentioned at the beginning of the presentation, we were able to achieve a balanced budget, so no surprise here. But now I'd like to take a closer look at the general fund to see whether we're expecting any surplus over the next 2 years, because over 60% of the general fund spending is on personnel costs. So earlier I showed that our total general fund revenue is projected at $187 million in year 1 and $194 million in year 2, for a total of $381 million over the 2-year period. Meanwhile, our total proposed expenditures are $188 million for year 1 and $195 million for year 2, totaling $383 million, which is about $2 million more than our revenue. So why do we still say that we have a balanced budget? When we evaluate whether a budget is structurally balanced or not, we focus only on the recurring revenues and recurring expenditures. One-time revenues like the self-capital assets are not included in our revenue estimates as part of our conservative budgeting approach. And on the expenditure side, that $383 million total includes several one-time initiatives. These one-time costs push the total numbers up, but don't impact the ongoing structural balance of the budget. And those items are, for the year 1, one-time contractual, totals $760, include $400,000 for asphalt and concrete services, $185 for a 6-month pilot program for park security, and $50,000 for contractual inspection, building inspection services, and some other contractual services. Included in year 1 is $111,000 for capital spending. Year 2, one-time contractual totals $912,000, among which $412,000 is the one-time contract that we have with certain homeless initiatives that we have put in place. another $400,000 for the asphalt and concrete services to keep up the momentum that we have established for a pavement management program, and another $100,000 in contractual services for certain HR training and building inspection services. So additional $300,000 is included in the concrete replacement capital improvement project. So once we set those items aside, we're essentially working with a break-even spending plan. As you can see on this, we have nothing left for year 2. That means that any additional spending beyond this point would push us into a budget deficit. The table here shows the city's 5-year capital improvement plan, or CIP, but only includes the new funding. Many projects have already received money in previous years, and those earlier allocations are not shown here. We use a 5-year planning horizon to give us both a short-term and long-term view. Not every project gets funded right away, but each one is carefully evaluated and prioritized based on the city's infrastructure goals and resources we have available. The CIP reflects a citywide investment in vital infrastructure and community assets. For fiscal year 25-26 and 26-27, the proposed biannual budget includes a total capital investment of $82.3 million, spread across 7 key categories as listed on here. Street improvements has the largest CIP spending, totaling $38 million over the next 2 years. Water system improvement totals about $20 million for 2026 and 2027. Sewer master plan identified a total of 6 projects with a $15 million price tag. And there's an affordable housing project planned for 2026, costs about $2 million. Parks, the $6 million Woodbury Park renovation is not shown here, as the budget was included in the previous years. Again, the amounts presented tonight are all new money. Same goes with Civic Center revitalization project. The entire $17 million was included in the prior year CIP. I also wanted to show a historical trend on the CIP funding. As you can see here on the line graph, the city has been increasing its investment in infrastructure over the past 5 years. On average, excluding one-time large investments in 2024 for the pavement program, and the construction of the navigation center, as well as the $140 million civic center project, the capital funding has increased by 20% year over year for the past 5 years. In addition to the proposed spending for the next 2 fiscal years that I just went over, we're also here to request a couple of one-time transfers from the general fund's existing fund balance. These would go to 2 of our 8 internal service funds, specifically the Workers' Comp Fund and the General Liability Fund. As you know, the city self-insures both programs. Workers' compensation. This fund covers all work-related injuries, disability retirements, and the administrative costs that go along with them. Each department contributes to the fund, and the charges are based on the type of work their employees do and the level of risk involved in those jobs. To make sure we're setting aside right amount of money, the city brings in a professional actuary every 2 years to analyze past claims and estimate what will be needed in the future. The most recent study was completed in 2024 and gave us projections for the next 2 fiscal years. Based on that analysis and where we are at the funding level, today we're recommending a one-time transfer of $4 million from the general fund's unassigned balance. This will eliminate the current deficit in the fund and make sure that we have enough set aside to cover projected claims in addition to ongoing charges we collect throughout the year. The General Liability Internal Service Fund. So this is used to pay for liability claims filed against the city, things like property damage, personal injury, or other legal claims. Departments are charged based on a mix of their past claims history and projected future liability determined by the actuarial review. Now, due to the recent settlements of several large claims, the fund is currently underfunded. To bring it back to a healthy level and ensure we're prepared for the expected claims over the next 2 years, we're recommending a one-time $3 million transfer from the general fund. Just like the transfer to the Workers' Compensation Fund, this is not part of a routine budget cycle. but it's essential for maintaining the fiscal health of our two self-insured programs. Both transfers are planned to occur at the end of the current fiscal year on June 30th, 2025, once approved. And this concludes my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. You always do such a great job of giving us this information in bite-sized pieces and in a way that's digestible when it's so much information to try to go over. Appreciate the budget in brief and all the graphics. It helps. We like pictures.
Thank you.
Colleagues, any questions of Patricia or staff before we move forward with the public hearing?
I do have a question. On page number 13, you mentioned about economic development coming from general fund. Can you give me some examples of some projects that have been or like used in this? I'm not very familiar with it.
Slide number 13.
Economic development. Like what like examples of what kind of projects that are done with this fund?
Economic development funds for a lot of developer-related initiatives. It also funds for some of the tax sharing agreements that we have. One of the major one, including the California Fuel and Lubricants. So those are the agreements we enter to bring in additional workforce to the city, additional economic growth to the city. It's an incentive giving to the developer to bring opportunity to the city, basically enhancing our tax bases and bringing new activities, employment, and everything else, sales tax. Those are just one of the examples. And other things includes outreach programs, the small business support programs, and some of them are funded by special revenues, like the grants the department obtains from the state, from the county, as well as some of the general fund funding allocation.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions of staff?
Just one quick comment. I know that we talk about park all the time, but I just want to bring up one thing because the report was really long, and thank you for doing that to the detail. So I just want to let people out there know, especially relate to the Garden Grove part. If you pay attention, there will be some work, or there will be a new project related to Garden Grove pickleball course. So many people out there asking me, they want to book and they don't have enough, like there are not enough location places for that. And so, yeah, just pay attention and you will be able to test that out. Thank you.
Yes.
Again, Patricia, another outstanding budget. I brag to everyone about Patricia and her staff. You keep us out of trouble. You keep us on budget. You keep us, so thank you again for another good report. With that being said, one of my ancillary duties is director for the Orange County Fire Authority. And, this year we'll get to celebrate having 0 unfunded pension liability. That's a huge accomplishment, and I can't take any credit for it at all, except I just happened to be sitting there when it happened. Because 15 years ago, the board of directors, and I believe it was called Operation Snowball, voted to fund that over the years a little bit. I think that's kind of what they meant. They melt the snowball, and finally, 15 years later, it's done. And I would like to see something like that here. I think we could be, we're not going to get any credit for it because 15, 20 years from now, but I think for our city and our community, it's probably something that we should look at adopting or looking into that realm. I know it's part of the budgeting process and we're going to have to look at it seriously, but paying down that pension liability is a huge benefit for our city and for our employees, quite frankly. So anyway, that's my comment.
Thank you. With that, we will go ahead and open the public hearing. I do have one pink card. Nicholas Dibbs.
Okay, I want to thank Patricia for going through all that. I have some questions on page 18 of the handout. Under economic development, there's a decrease or change of negative 32.6%. As I understand it, economic development is something that, you know, brings in revenue for the city or tries to improve the economic conditions of our city. So I'm just wondering why it's going down 32.6%. That's one question. Now, I don't know, when I make these questions, is she allowed to answer, or do I just make my comments and then I have to sit down?
That's about it.
That's about it, okay. Okay, so that's one question, and I'm sure there's an explanation for it. Now, on the city attorney, sorry, Omar, I do like you, but this says you're getting $1.161 million, so $1,161,000 for the one position, or is that more than one position? Because that seems like a lot of money for one person to get. So that probably includes other things that I don't know about. But is that just for one position, or, well, you know, why is the city attorney getting $1.161 million in 1 year? Okay, now the other part of this is reserve funds. I know that there was something mentioned about emergency reserve funds. Could we, as a city, consider having emergency reserves for general funds of the budget at like a rainy day fund, so that if there's a downturn or an emergency or something, is that in here somewhere for not just specific utilities, but in general? Could we have some sort of emergency reserves or a buildup of reserve funds that every year would build up, so that if there were to be a downturn or some emergency, there'd be money to fund it, to take care of things? The next question I have is there an incentive to some government agencies, their budgeted money, and if they don't spend it all, it goes away, so that then they are incentivized to spend everything. But can the reverse be possible? That is, if they don't spend everything and help save money, can that potential savings be carried over for the next year, so that there's an incentive to save money? And last, on cost efficiency, or is there anything about asking city employees, because they're the best ones that would know the answer, if employees see a way to save money, is there a process by which they're encouraged to suggest ways of saving funds, just in general?
Thank
So those
you.
are kind of my questions and comments. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. There's no one else from the public here, so with that, I will close the public hearing. And council members, any other comments on this budget?
Well, I wanted to give Patricia her flowers, as the kids would say. Patricia, and I want folks to know that we get the opportunity to ask Patricia questions even outside of us being on this body and on the dais. And Patricia and I have become good friends at this point. I'm probably her favorite person, just saying. But I do want to point out the fact that we've had many opportunities to come and ask Patricia many questions. And I'm guilty as charged that with a lot of the news that's been coming along, and with, you know, the economic uncertainty, as she mentioned, being one of the challenges, the big challenges that we need to foresee in this budget, I think that she's done a really good job, and her team has done a really good job of trying to forecast and predict, you know, the kind of worst case scenarios and more like most likely scenarios, right? I wish that we were in a situation right now where we would be able to reasonably and with more certainty be able to ensure our residents that some of our tax revenue into our general fund would be more stable, or that it would be more certain that it's going to consistently be on an up and up. But at this point, we have to really, you know, be very careful with how we're spending. and I also want to make sure that folks understand as well that some of the projects that we have going on that maybe you don't see on the budget at this point, but then maybe you'll see happening later on. If we do have the opportunity to get grant funding, if that occurs, if there's a program through the state or maybe the federal government, and we get the opportunity to do those projects, we have money for those projects, then that wonderful. We would be so happy and so thrilled to have that opportunity. At this point, I know that it doesn't look very optimistic. But we look forward to hopefully getting those opportunities in the future, because, and if I understand correctly, and please correct me if I'm wrong, Patricia, but if we have these capital improvement projects, oh, I look like a mess. If we have these capital improvement projects that we've budgeted for, but if we do have the capacity at some point within the window of operations to bring in some additional funding, that helps us open up some of that general funding. Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. So ideally and hopefully we'll be able to get support from the folks at the state, at the federal government, to help us with a lot of these things. Because if you look at the slides and you see what it is that we're spending on, half of what we're spending is on salaries and benefits, and then you see how much we're spending on public works and utilities, and on water and sewage, streets. Like, those are some of the most important things that we have that every single resident of the city gets to use, right? All of us get to use sidewalks. All of us get access to water. So it's important that we are able to continue funding those specific departments, those specific projects. And I'm really glad that we are dedicating especially effort into making sure that we're continuing to pave our streets, right? For a few years, we had some federal funding that was helping us with that. I believe that funding has sunsetted, and I'm really glad that we were going to continue providing those improvements for our residents so that they see that we're continuing to maintain quality of life, that we're maintaining their infrastructure. And I'm really glad that we were able to work that into this budget specifically, because it's one of those things that I think makes people feel better. It eliminates wear and tear on your car, and it just, it helps with our, I could list many other reasons, water runoff, et cetera, but point being, it's a very important resource that all of us use and our visitors use. So I'm glad that we're putting emphasis on getting those infrastructural projects done, and I sincerely hope that we'll be able to get support with even more projects, because we do have, speaking very optimistically, we do have a lot of really amazing things on the horizon as a city and as a region here in Orange County. I'm very excited for the Olympics and all those other fun things. And I see opportunities for us. So hopefully when we come back in a year, I believe, when we look at we review our budget for amendments or anything or something like that, we'll be able to have more opportunities for even more programming and to do even more things. But waxing poetic, thank you, Patricia.
Philip was her favorite.
Yes, and again, I'm too working closely with Patricia because I'm very much interested on our financial issues. And first, I would like to thank Patricia and her financial department personnel that doing a very excellent report on. So I got more knowledge about our organizational operations and government policy compliance. Also, our financial management strategy. As the report coming out, I can see that now we have our priority that focus clearly on the safety of the public. I can see that fire protection is one of the highest allocations suggested, and the community development is nearly all the funding on the general funds. So in general, the budget priority heavily favor the public safety, fire protection, the police service, and the community focus on development. Excellent. And thank you so much.
I know that the meeting is so long already. I'm gonna try to be really quick. We already talked about the great job that Patricia and the team has been doing. You know, they have to balance the big number to the point. There was so many things that we're asking, and then some of the things that we were talking about. Can we take this money to use for the next year, etc. A lot of that we so glad that our staff already think ahead. And so some of the amount that Patricia mentioned earlier, you know, relate to the opportunity for getting more money for the Olympic coming up, etc. So that were already in the consideration. And so it's very, that make us feel more confident about the report that you have. As council member mentioned about the priority that the council gave to the staff, and you could see that all the things that they break down going toward that, not just the plan ahead, but some of this, for example, you know, the safety and the fire protection. I get to go and see our staff doing it, you know, with my own eye, and it's just amazing just to see from the top down, everybody, you know, working toward that goal. So not taking too much time, but I am looking forward to some of the new initiative that our mayor gonna make announcement at the state of the city soon. So that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Well, this was wonderful to see a balanced budget. And I appreciate the line that you placed in there that we have a balanced budget through collaboration. And I believe that's really true for our city. It takes collaboration among staff and all the directors. It also takes collaboration among us as council to come together and give a concise and a well thought out list of priorities, which we have done. You know, we have to remember too, while we have a balanced budget, there's a lot of cities in this county that do not. They're struggling. And with an uncertain economy, you know, those scary words of furloughs and layoffs, they're out there and they're real. And so for us to be able to balance this budget this evening is a wonderful thing. So thank you very much, Patricia, for this. I believe we had a motion. Do we have a second? Second. Motion and a second. Call for the vote, please.
Sorry, for the record, who was the second?
We had about 4 of them, so you can.
Thank you. Motion received, 7 yes votes.
All right, with that, we will move on to public, oh, yes.
5 minutes?
Yes, let's take a stretch break, 5 minutes. item number 13.
Item 13 is adoption of a resolution amending certain user fees for water service, and Ms. Song will provide that report.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Good evening. Sorry about that. This will be a much shorter presentation, I promise. This item before you tonight is a resolution to amend 2 existing water service user fees and to add 1 new fee under the same category. So before we go into the details of the proposed fee changes, I'd like to take a moment to explain what user fees are. User fees are not taxes, and they're not assessments that apply to everyone. Instead, these fees are charged for specific municipal services that are voluntarily requested and benefit individual user groups, rather than the general public. So most city services like police and fire protection, street maintenance, and parks are funded through tax revenues and are considered general government service. User fees, on the other hand, are different. They benefit only the individuals who request or receive them. Because of that, it wouldn't be fair for the general taxpayer to cover those costs, and that is why the City Council has consistently supported the principle of full cost recovery for these services. Now, I'd like to walk you through 2 proposed fee adjustments related to the construction meters with backflow devices. These meters are used during construction projects, allowing contractors to draw water from fire hydrants. To protect the city's equipment, we require a deposit from contractors in case the meter is damaged, lost, or stolen. That deposit also helps to cover the cost of backflow testing, water usage, and any installation, relocation, or removal of the meter. In addition to the deposit, there's also a daily rental fee for using the meter. This fee helps partially recover the cost for routine meter replacement and the staff time to perform monthly readings and inspections. Currently, the deposit is set at $2,800, but the actual cost of a 3-inch construction meter today is around $3,800. And the current daily rental fee is $1, which hasn't been updated in more than 20 years. To move forward with full recovery, Public Works is recommending increasing the construction meter deposit to $3,800 and raising the rental fee to $2 per day. We're also proposing a new fee related to privately owned backflow devices. The city has nearly 1,600 of these in use, mostly for commercial properties, though a few are at residential sites with on-site wells or irrigation systems. State regulations require us to inspect these devices annually to protect the water supply from contamination. If a customer doesn't submit a passing test report, we are required to shut off their water until the device is tested and passed. Once it's compliant, staff must restore the water service. So all these requires on-site visits, shutting off, turning on, and that is why the fee is introduced to recover the cost, and this is really just for the non-compliant backflow device owners. The cost calculated by staff is around $107 per incident. This includes the back and forth, shutting off, turning on, and as well as the vehicle use. And this will encourage, having this fee will also encourage timely compliance and allow the city to have the cost recovered. With that, we are recommending that the City Council to conduct a public hearing and adopt the resolution to approve the fee increases for the construction meter deposit and daily rental, as well as the new service restoration fee for non-compliant backflow testing. That concludes my report. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you for the report. Colleagues, any questions for staff before we open the public hearing?
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
One quick question. Should we go ahead and adopt this usage? When would it become effective?
60 days from today.
Thank you, Omar.
State law requires that there be a 60-day appeal period.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, with that, I will open the public hearing. Is there anyone wishing to speak on this item?
Yeah, hi, Nicholas Dibbs again. Before I get into that, I want to wish the mayor a happy birthday. Obviously, the fees are justified on that. I just want to kind of bring a comparison or analogy. Our water fees are pretty straightforward and are handled pretty well, whereas the difference in billing for the trash is different. In the west side of Garden Grove, the trash is billed the property tax, and then the other city isn't. So I just as a suggestion, if you look at the allocation of fees for water meters, maybe adopt some sort of billing like Long Beach does, where the water and the trash and the sewer are all in one bill, instead of having it segregated into 2 bills or 3 bills. So on the west end, we have our trash is handled, our trash is assessed through the property tax. So I just want to bring to the attention that the other cities like Long Beach, they put the water, the sewer, gas, or whatever, all in one bill. So that's, I'm going to state that. As far as the fees on the construction stuff, yes, it seems to make sense, the pass-through fees. That's all I really have to say. I think Mr. Murray and his staff are doing a great job in the water department, and so hands off for that. And thank you, Patricia, and I appreciate your answering some of my questions. I have a few more. Hopefully will get answered at the end of after the meeting ends. Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no one else from the public here, I will close the public hearing. Council members, any discussion or a motion? I have a motion and a second. Call for the vote, please.
Motion received, 7 yes votes.
All right, with that, we move on to items for consideration. Item number 14.
Item 14 is introduction and first reading of an ordinance to adopt the paramedic tax override rate for fiscal year 25-26, and the ordinance entitled, An Ordinance of the City Council of the City of Garden Grove establishing the amount of money for paramedic services that must be raised by an ad valorem tax override and the setting of the tax rate of said override. And Ms. Song will provide that report.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Good evening, Honorable Mayor and Council and members. This is a routine item come to you on an annual basis. It is an ordinance to authorize a tax override of 8 cents per $100 of assessed property value within the city. This revenue helps fund for paramedic services for our community. This property tax override was originally approved by voters back in 1974. It was created specifically to support the ongoing costs of providing emergency medical services. The ballot measure set a max tax rate of 10 cents per $100 assessed value. For the upcoming fiscal year, we're proposing to maintain the current rate of 8 cents, which hasn't been changed since 2017. This paramedic tax is essential. It helps to fund for our contract with Orange County Fire Authority, who currently provides these services. We estimate that the tax will generate about $16 million in fiscal year 2025 and 26. These funds are part of our $29 million annual payment to OCFA to ensure emergency medical care is available to our residents. Just to give you a sense of how critical this service is, OCFA reports that nearly 90% of the calls they responded to in our city during the first 4 months of 2025 were medical related. State law requires the City Council to set this tax rate every year through an ordinance or resolution, and that's why we're here this evening to ask the Council to introduce and conduct the first reading of this ordinance. That concludes my report. Thank you.
Any comments, questions, or a motion?
One quick question. There is no increase. This is the same annual tax, because I did get an email, somebody's concerned about the paramedic tax increase. I want to make it clear this is not an increase. This is the same that it's always been. It's just we have to annually do a resolution every year, so, or vote for the ordinance, I'm sorry.
Yes, you're correct.
So with that being said, I'll make a motion.
We have a motion and a second. Call for the vote.
Motion received, 7 yes votes.
Item number 15.
Item 15 is award a contract to Carl Warren and Company for third-party liability claims administration services, and Ms. Song will provide the report.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Good evening. This is for a little change. This is nothing on ordinance, taxes, or budget, but this is a contract that we're asking the council to approve.
So we are asking the council to award a contract to Carl Warren and Company to provide third-party liability claims administrative services. As you know, the Finance Department manages the city's self-insured general liability program, which covers tort and civil liabilities. Each year, we handle about 120 claims under this program. To support this effort, we rely on a third-party administrator, or we call TPA, with the expertise to work closely with the claimants, city staff, and the city attorney's office, and to make informed recommendations on how to handle each claim. The TPA represents the city in all aspects of a liability claim. That includes investigation and processing the claim, maintaining a comprehensive claims database, providing legal support on litigated matters, representing the city in small claims court, and when authorized, processing settlements and payments. Carl Warren has been providing the service for the city since 1986. Our current contract with them expires on June 30th, 2025. In keeping with the best practices, we issued a request for proposal in April to ensure we are continuing receiving high-level quality service at competitive pricing. We received 2 proposals, and Carl Warren once again stood out, offering the strongest combination of experience, service quality, and pricing. We're recommending a new contract for 3 years with the option to renew for 2 additional 1-year periods. The annual cost is $160,000. Staff is requesting the City Council to award the contract to Carl Warren and Company, authorize the city manager or her designee to execute the contract and make any minor modifications as needed, and authorize the city manager or her designee to execute future amendments to renew the contract when needed. This concludes my report. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Comments, questions, or a motion? Anyone?
Move it. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Call for the vote.
Motion received, 7 yes votes.
Item 16.
Item 16 is award a contract to Meter Investment Management, Inc. for investment advisory services, and Ms. Song will provide the report.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Good evening. This is another contract, and this is the final item I have for you tonight. So prior to 2020, the city managed its investment in-house. At that time, our investment options were very limited, mainly just treasury bills and agency notes. We also held everything to maturity, which meant that we missed out on many opportunities to improve the performance of our portfolio. In 2020, we issued an RFP and selected Meter Investment Management to take over our portfolio. Since then, we've seen a lot of positive changes. Our investments are now much more diversified, and our portfolio has nearly doubled in size, currently over $400 million. Our cash flow has improved significantly, and returns have increased by about 2.2%. We clearly see the value of having an actively managed portfolio. And with our current contract with Meter ending this month, Finance issued another RFP in March to ensure we continue receiving high-quality services at a competitive price. We received 6 proposals, and Meter was once again rated the highest, thanks to their comprehensive approach and strong pricing. We're recommending a new 3-year contract with the option to renew for up to 2 additional 1-year periods. The annual cost range from $95,700 per year to $113,100. Staff is requesting the City Council to approve this contract, authorize our city manager to execute it, and make minor modifications, as well as allowing us to renew when time comes. So that is all my reports, and thank you very much for your time and support.
Thank you very much. Colleagues, any questions, comments, or a motion, please?
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
So the Meter, where are they out of? Are they a local Garden Grove investment company? Are they even in our state? Or I mean,
no, they're based in Ohio.
They're in Ohio?
Yeah, but they have a very strong presence in California.
Okay. Yeah, I was kind of curious to them. I quite frankly, when I read this, it didn't ring any bells, so I was curious. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion is second. Call for the vote, please.
Motion received, 7 yes votes.
And on to item 17.
Item 17 is adoption of a resolution implementing the terms and conditions of employment for central management. And Human Resources Manager Leanne Kwan is here to provide the report.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the council. The item before you requests City Council approval of the resolution implementing the terms and conditions of employment for the city's central management classifications, including the city manager. This resolution has been prepared to be consistent with the terms and conditions of employment provided to the Police Association, Police Management, and Middle Management. The resolution provides that effective in July 2025, an increase of 3% to base salary, and the elimination of Step A on the salary schedule. And effective in July 2026, the creation of a new Step J at 5% higher than the current top step I, and the elimination of Step B and C on the salary schedule. Additionally, the resolution provides for cafeteria benefits to be consistent with the other bargaining units and vacation accrual rates that are consistent with OCEA Employees League and Association. The estimated annual cost of the 3% base salary increase is approximately $131,000 for the central management group. The cost for establishing Step J is projected to be $141,000 in the year of implementation, and no cost for eliminating Steps A, B, and C. At this time, the cost impact of increased cafeteria plan contributions cannot be determined, as further information is still pending. These estimates do not include routine cost increases associated with merit-based step advancements, changes in eligibility for specialty pay, or associated pension impacts. The Finance Department will make the budget appropriations to reflect these terms across the applicable funds. It is recommended that the City Council adopt the attached resolution implementing the terms and conditions of employment for the City Central Management Group, including the City Manager, and authorize the City Manager to finalize any last-minute language changes that may be required. This concludes the staff report, and I'm available for any questions.
Thank you. Questions? Comments? A motion? Motion and a second. Call for the vote, please.
Motion received, 7 yes votes.
Thank you. That takes us to matters. We've made it. We will start with District 6.
I will get through some fun logistics first, and then I'll promise I'll try to be as brief as possible because it's 9:39 and we all want to go to sleep. I am old. So first and foremost, I want to let you guys know about some upcoming events that are happening with myself and with District 6. It has been a fun few weeks, but that's what social media is for. I'll let you guys see there. So I will be speaking with the Garden Grove Chamber of Commerce's Government Affairs Committee this Friday, June 13th at 7:30 a.m. at Coast Community College right here on Euclid and Garden Grove Boulevard. I'm really excited to update the Chamber with regards to what's been going on in District 6 as well as Garden Grove at large. Further, this upcoming Saturday, we have the District 6 Walk and Talk happening at 8 a.m. and we're going to be starting off our walk at Sabroso, which I'm very excited about. That's on Garden Grove and Harbor Boulevard. So 8 a.m. we're going to be walking all the way down to Westminster, all the way back, and we're going to be talking about all of the fun stuff that we have going on and showing off some of the ways that we're working on the Harbor Corridor. Further, we have Beautify Buena Clinton 2.0, as 1.0 was a little dampened by torrential rain. So in this session of Beautify Buena Clinton, we will have bulky item pickup again, and this time we will be doing the painting that we weren't able to accomplish last time due to, the weather. So if you guys want to help out and help us beautify the area, cover some graffiti, patch up some walls that might need patching up, please join us at Buena Clinton. It's staged at the Buena Clinton Community Center. So join us there on the Saturday, June 21st. I'm going to talk about some other topics that are at the top of our mind right now. Earlier today, we had representatives from the Orange County Employee Association visit us and express their concerns. I want our employees to know that I'm hear them, and I hope that we're going to be able to reach a resolution. I want us all to be mindful of the fact that this group, as well as every other group, specifically their cafeteria plan, everyone has been Me Too'd in the sense that the deal that we ratify with OCEA, with the league and our association of employees, that's going to be the deal that all of our other employee agencies have. So the stakes really are high in terms of this negotiation. I look forward to getting briefed from our staff with regards to how those negotiations have been going on. I want to make sure that we have a clear understanding of what's been happening, so I understand, why it is that folks are feeling this way, and see where we might be able to find a resolution to move forward. So I will be having conversations with you guys. Brace yourself for my questions. I really hope that we're going to be able to reach a resolution soon, as this contract does terminate at the end of this month. With everything going on, the last thing that we need right now is to have issues going on here at the local level. It's fun times. It's been fun times. And with regards to those fun times, I do think it's important to, address the really huge elephant in the room, which is for the last few days, our residents have been really concerned with regards to the ICE raids that have been happening in our local community. And they're happening here in Garden Grove. People are talking about it on social media. Folks are reporting about it, and they're letting everybody know. And I do think it's important for us to appraise one another of situations that might be dangerous to one another. And that can take many different forms. But I want to make sure, first and foremost, that our residents know that they can still count on our Garden Grove Police law enforcement. It is our law enforcement's job and duty to protect our local community. And they do not go around collecting our residents to, deliver them to immigration. Their job, first and foremost, is public safety. They've always been committed to that. And I hope that folks, if you're in a situation where you feel like you need to call police, where you need help, that you will still seek assistance, because they will not ask you about your legal status. Their number one goal is to protect and serve the city of Garden Grove. Furthermore, I know that because of our proximity to Santa Ana, where a lot of the protests are taking place, there's residents that are attending those demonstrations, and I'm concerned for the safety of our residents, because the majority of people out there are well-intentioned, peaceful protesters. There's a lot of reasons to be upset, a lot of very valid reasons to be upset. And I want to make sure that our residents, when they're entering the city of Santa Ana and they're participating in peaceful protest, that they are safe from potential agitators, that they continue to protest peacefully and exercise their First Amendment rights as our Constitution allows them to do. There are many resources that you can look to if you're in a situation where you feel like you see activity from ICE happening in our community. Orange County Rapid Response Network is an excellent resource to let folks in the community know of what you see. They keep track of sightings and activities, just to let folks know. That's their number. Their hotline number is 714-881-1558. I'll say that again. That's 714-881-1558. This is just volunteers, community sourced, and they've been doing a lot of work with just the overwhelming number of sightings in our local community. There's also several organizations that are here providing services to our residents, whether you are in a situation where you yourself have been arrested or you're having issues with immigration. There's Community Legal Aid, the Public Law Center, and Catholic Charities of Orange County. They're all providing services to the local community. I cannot emphasize enough that we need to be taking care of one another. At the end of the day, we are all neighbors. We can't tell by looking at one another if you are documented or undocumented. It is not the color of your skin. It's not the way that you speak or don't speak English. So many of us are here because our ancestors arrived here in different ways. All of them followed that American dream. They want opportunity. They wanted a chance at a life that allows them dignity, prosperity, the opportunity to raise their family without fear. And we need to be compassionate towards one another. We need to empathize with one another, see the humanity in one another in order for us to go forward, to heal, to make sure that we are keeping our community of Garden Grove safe. Because when one of us is scared, when our community gets scared, we lose as a city. We lose public trust. We lose the sense of community. Our businesses lose. People are scared to go out and shop. People are scared to go to work. That is not good for us as a city, and we just passed a budget. So I hope that we're all going to, be a little kinder to one another, be a little bit more considerate, and just take care of one another, look out for one another, because these are some really scary times, and our residents don't deserve to be intimidated by people from outside of our community. We need to be able to rely on one another. With that, I'll leave that to my colleague Yesenia to fill us in.
Good evening, everyone. Hope everybody's start to June has been a good one. Recently, I had the distinct honor of speaking at the First Responder Recognition Night, organized by the Garden Grove Mason Lodge 351. It was a meaningful opportunity to recognize and thank the outstanding individuals, the GGPD gang, unit, CERT, OCFA, Animal Service, and Code Enforcement. These teams work tirelessly to protect, to support, and to serve our community. And I was proud to help honor their dedication and contributions. This past weekend, I hosted my third community event since taking office, a walk and talk in District 5. Over 30 neighbors joined us after hearing about it from friends, family, or receiving a personal invitation. These events are completely organized by amazing interns and volunteers, with food and supplies generously donated from local businesses. A special thank you to Jerusalem Roasteries, Carolina's Italian Restaurant, Flappy's Wings, and Donut Star for your generosity and in contributions to our constituents. I also want to thank the city leaders who came out. Thank you. Your involvement meant so much, and to our residents. I saw a lot of engagement out there, and it was just a fun time to see all the engagement and questions being answered, and just, everybody took their time to connect. So I really do appreciate you for that, for making yourself available for our residents in District 5. Your presence truly did make a difference. I also want to thank Chief Covey for having fire engine out for the little ones in attendance. They really enjoyed it. This was a grassroots democracy. This is what grassroots democracy looks like. Neighbors coming together and building a strong, more connected Garden Grove. And that being said, don't forget that this Saturday, Council District neighbor Ariana will be hosting her walk and talk. So come out to Sabroso Mexican Grill at 8 a.m. to support and to be part of that movement as well. I want to take some time to address the concerns of some of our Garden Grove residents. These concerns are regarding recent immigration enforcement raids in our city. And it is very sad to see people chased and thrown down to the ground who are preparing to work and make an honest living. Some of the people that are being targeted are our neighbors. Their children go to our schools with our own. And when their children do something amazing, we invite them here to our city council to recognize them and take photo op opportunities. I've had conversations with Viet Rise, which is one of our local nonprofit groups in Garden Grove, and they have shared stories with me about Vietnamese families who have been torn apart right here in Little Saigon. If you don't believe me, I urge our city leaders on and off of this council to reach out to these groups, or yet alone, even Garden Grove Unified School District. They will tell you how our families in our city are being impacted. I also want to take a moment to acknowledge the Orange County Employee Association for constantly attending our recent council meetings. While we often refer to them as as OCEA, it's crucial to remember behind the name are real people. Our dedicated people, employees who work tirelessly every day to keep Garden Grove running smoothly. They are not just a union, but they are valid members of this community and essential to deliver the services we all rely on. I've had the opportunity to speak to a few of them recently, and it's disheartening to see and to hear that some of them are feeling unappreciated. As council members, we are not in the negotiation room, and we do not directly participate in those decisions. But I want to be clear that I sincerely hope our staff are negotiating in good faith, with transparency, and also treating our employees with the professionalism and the courtesy they deserve. Our city employees deserve nothing less. With that being said, thank you, everyone.
Happy birthday, Madam Mayor, and I yield my time.
I want to try to be quick. So first, congratulations to all the graduates. Our city just had an event earlier, and thanks to our staff, Vicky, Christine, GGTV3, and all the people that organized it. It was amazing, and thanks to our sponsor. One thing that stood out for me was that when our mayor said a story, and she said, you know, all the things that we do for you, make sure that you come back and contribute to the city. So that is something that I hope the graduate remember. Second thing, I had a interview with Emma, who is a UCLA graduate student. She was doing a research study for Vietnamese women. So I know that when the older generation, they get there and they worry about younger generation remember their root or things like that. But from the conversation that I had with Emma, actually I learned from her. And so it was just very nice just to see the research that she had, and she actually reaching out to some other community leader just to gather more information. But I was just amazed with the knowledge she has and the thing that she wants to see kind of vision within our city. Next one is the Chamber of Commerce. Well, I had a honor to attend the Chamber of Commerce Scholarship night And thanks to the Chamber of Commerce that gave me the opportunity to give out $500 scholarship to one student who his family, mom and daughter always supported community in Garden Grove City. Anytime we have any volunteering program, so that was just, it was not part of the Chamber of Commerce, but they gave me the opportunity. So thank you so much for doing that. I'm not sure if you remember the teacher, Doug Winner. He came here last time with his student to talk about like the orchid that I brought to the school, and after he spoke, I came back to visit his class. So he has his retirement. A couple of days ago, I was assuming I would to come to the play maybe with a small room with a couple of teachers. I went to the restaurant. It was packed, and I thought I went to the wrong place. I looked around, I called him, and finally he came out. But what I want to say is that he left an amazing footprint. I talked to a mom, see a grandma, the parent, and the grandkid. They all had him as the teacher. And just here, the people around there were many people who came from different states, San Diego, San Jose, different places to come to say thank you to him. Just make you feel just amazing in terms of, just an honor to know him. So I want to bring it there to the people around us, the resident and teacher, anyone. Just think about, in your lifetime, what do you do that when you leave, people still always remember you and appreciate the thing that you have done for them. Next one is the VACOC had with America 50 year. Thanks to our staff, our mayor, and many of our staff came with the Vietnamese traditional outfit. It was an amazing event. The great thing is that it was a collaboration between our city with many other nonprofit groups in the community. So it was very nice to see that. And there was a lot of great decoration and things to highlight the Vietnamese community, 50 years here in this area. So thanks to our staff and mayor for being there. Congratulations to the VACOC new board. They have the installation for them. And then I was invited to the mural project by Advanced Beauty College, and I know that mayor and some of the council members came. So if you have time and you want to leave your footprint and you want to do something like want to try your artistic skill, there is a big mural on the side of the building that needs your help. So I came, I did some, I contribute some of my my time there. Probably it doesn't look that great, but they're gonna fix that. And so thanks to ABC School for organizing that, and thanks to all the artists. I talked to a couple of the young artists, 20, 30 years old, amazing volunteer, the people that have passion and want to do something great for the community. So thank you. Thanks to Brown Descent group who gave out many of the scholarships to our community, our students. But the great thing is that when you hear what he shared, that he just not one of the best students. And finally, before he finished high school, he actually got an award, and he just so appreciate that. And so he wanted to make sure that he gave that support to the students that don't get to have the opportunity. So when you hear that story, you just see how much that will impact the people's life. And so thank to Jimmy Well for inviting us. The mayor and council member George Birmingham was there too. And I have so many other events, but before I end, I just want to say congratulations to Emily, Alvin, Ethan, Casey, and Lonnie, all graduated from Garden Grove High School. They are my niece and nephew at the same time. And also congratulations to my mom and dad for 50-year anniversary. That's it.
Hello, everybody. And first of all, happy birthday, Mayor Klopfenstein. And I'm kind of excited about the Orange County Humane Society Showcase today. And as I express myself, I am going to visit the facility, adopt a dog. Yeah. Yeah. The next meeting, you probably will see my dog. Anyway, so express my all the things that is happening right now is very exciting, and I'm very much concerned. But like I say, my college, Ariana and Yesenia already expressed, I concur and concern. So again, just want to thank you, our police department officer is out there to protect our residents and properties. Make sure yourself safe too. So that's what we are very much concerned for you also. I would like to also talk out about the concern today when the OCEA is talking about their concern for their employee, and I'm very much concerned about our city worker welfare, equality, and benefit. I understand we have to work within our city budget. At the same time, I want our city worker, employee to be able to provide necessity for themselves and their family. That's what we're here for. So hopefully we can come up with something that will provide them and their family with the equality and the quality of life that necessity for just like for all of us. Thank you so much.
Well, I guess I'll start out with a happy 21st birthday to our mayor. And, and again, we talk about the college grad reception tonight. It's really just a great event. We honor all the Garden Grove residents who graduated college every year. There's raffles and wonderful dinner and all the good stuff. They can come and win some money. I think the grand prize tonight, there was $1,000 winner, a couple 500s, a couple 300s. So, you know, it was a good night and get to meet the folks and whatnot. I would, and I'm not being contrary, I think it's a great event, but I would like to see that extended to our trade graduates as well from the trade schools. You know, they're putting in 3, 4, 5 years of schooling and on-the-job work, and when they graduate, you know, that deserves a little recognition as well. And, you know, I don't know how that would look, if that's a separate event or if they can include that, but I really think staff should look at including that in the future, so we can recognize all of our youth that are, or young adults that are graduating school, you know, college, trade school, whatever it may be. So I want to talk a little bit about illegal fireworks. As you know, 4th of July is coming up. The booms are still starting to go out. Our phones are and emails are gonna get blown up here in the next few weeks from people upset about it. And you know, that they are illegal. You know, that's why we call them illegal fireworks. In the city of Garden Grove, it's illegal to shoot those off. The only things that are legal are the safe and sane fireworks that stay on the ground. They don't go boom. Okay, up to $1,000 fine can be had. I would recommend, if you are hearing those or you know of a problem, and to call the Garden Grove Police Department's non-emergency number. It is not an emergency, so don't call 911 because we don't want to tie up the lines for actual emergencies. But they are important, and they want to track them, and so please call the non-emergency number for Garden Grove Police Department. Speaking of police, we've all, and our fellow colleagues have talked about recent events going on and outside the cities nearby. And it just disgusts me when I see the police being targeted. Fireworks, bottles, rocks. It's crazy. It's just ridiculous. Everybody on this dais supports a peaceful protest, your right to protest and to say your piece. But when you start throwing items at police officers with the intention of hurting them, you know, it's disgusting. It doesn't matter what side of the political fence you're on, if you're right wing, if you're left wing, it's disgusting. You know, you got to look at it. Those police officers are husbands, wives, sisters, brothers, mothers. They're not always in that uniform. They're not robots. They're not, you know, I know it looks official and it looks, you know, they're human beings. They've got families, they've got all the same wants and needs and desires that you have. So targeting the police, you know, we sent some mutual aid over to help with Santa Ana last night. One of our officers got hit with a firework. You know, thank goodness he's okay. But, you know, that it's uncalled for. And the sad part is, you know, police officers take an oath and they're doing what they're ordered to do. And the powers that be direct those orders. So that police officer that you're throwing a brick at, probably 50-50 shot that he's sharing the same beliefs that you are, that you have. And you're throwing a rock at him, he's not your enemy. She's not your enemy. So I'm going to make a call. Please, please, please. You know, let's keep it peaceful. Let's say our pieces. Let's make our voices known and heard. But let's be peaceful. And with that, that's all I got to say.
Thank you, colleagues. Quickly, I want to make mention of just a few things. I believe our city manager will talk a little more about it, but I also want to touch upon the 50 Years of Resilience Little Saigon event last Thursday. It was a beautiful event in collaboration with Westminster, Fountain Valley, and Santa Ana. I was a part of a mayor's panel. There were other panels throughout the day. Booths set up in partnership with the Vietnamese Chamber and other chambers of commerce that were there. Such a positive atmosphere, great conversation. And I really appreciate the work of our staff, as well as so many others, to put on such an event as this at the Great Wolf Lodge. I got a lot of positive feedback from it. There was also a Flavors of Little Saigon at the end of the day that really showcased and highlighted some of the great food that we have to offer within the Little Saigon region. So it was an excellent event. I was proud to be a part of it. I also just wanted to mention the graduate reception that was held earlier this evening. We recognized 30 local graduates for their achievements in higher education. And I was very impressed by the caliber of graduates as I went around from table to table to listen to these degrees from associate all the way to doctorate, and in different areas such as business, administration, civil engineering. I believe one woman was planning to become a park ranger. So such a vast array of talents and educational backgrounds. With the support of generous sponsors, graduates were awarded over $6,000 in opportunity cash prizes, gift cards, and services to help jumpstart their careers. This is the 12th year that we have held this reception to celebrate our commitment to higher education and a lasting impact on building that thriving workforce here in Garden Grove. So I just want to congratulate again all the graduates who truly do represent the best of our community. We took lots of photos, which we like to do. And so if you'd like to see them, you can go to ggcity.org/grads to take a look at those photos. And finally, the State of the City is next week. I am very excited on the 18th. I'm very excited to give an address, my first State of the City. I look forward to having all my colleagues there and being able to highlight all the good things going on in Garden Grove. That's it for me, City Manager.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the City Council. Tonight, we accomplished a huge feat, adopting a biannual budget, nearly $400 million, and I wanted to thank our council for your support. I know during our council retreat earlier this spring, you identified 6 key priorities, and we wanted to make sure that those were addressed and integrated into the budget that you've adopted this evening. In addition to Patricia Song and her finance team, it was 6 months in the making with all the department directors, their respective budget coordinators. I wanted to acknowledge staff and all their efforts that put into contributing to the budget document that you adopted this evening. So thank you so much. Yes, the Little Saigon, 50 years of resilience, that was about 5 months in the making, and I do want to acknowledge Ursula and her team, Christy Lee. She was the lead liaison that worked closely with all 4 cities, all 4 chambers, all the wonderful community and business resources that really brought collaboration and community to life. There was a little bit of music, a little bit of art, lots of food, and lots of recognition of our business resources that make Little Saigon so special. So thank you for that. And that's all I have.
Nothing from me. Thank you.
All right. With that, we stand adjourned.